today is gonna be the day that we're gonna throw it back to you. As you probably heard from the musical introduction, which hopefully Twitch has not muted us for, I can hear us. So I think we're okay. We're gonna talk about, you know what? I'm just gonna start off and I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it out loud. I'm gonna say it out proud. This is now my number one favorite movie.
Whoa, that's a big... Okay, wait a minute.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
It moved up.
It
was number 2 under Scott Pilgrim, right?
Yep. Scott Pilgrim versus the World and Princess Mononoke, which is what we're going to be talking about today, have fought mercilessly and tirelessly. Every single time I watched either of them, I was like, "Oh, this is definitely my favorite." And I'd watch Scott Pilgrim and be like, "Yep, this is my favorite movie." And then I'd watch Princess Mononoke and I'd be like, "I think this might be my favorite movie." And so I think this rewatch cemented its place. It won by a hair, but I just think I have to give it to this movie. I never have I ever
Hello.
put a finger down if you've never watched this movie. I have never watched a movie. I don't know why I'm doing finger guns at the camera. Probably because we just finished Go Kaiju. Interesting. I have an interesting origin story to this movie, and I would love to know yours because I don't know if you ever told me. I don't know if it's significant.
Yeah,
If it's not, you can. That's fine. The very first time I watched Princess Mononoke, which, by the way, we're talking about, we just jumped right in. We didn't do any intros. We were just like, hey, there's the music. Hey, it's this movie.
All right, we're
I love this
talking about
movie.
Princess Mononoke tonight.
We're talking about Princess Mononoke tonight. Deep dive. We're going to deep dive. And the reason why is not just for any reason. This year is the 40th anniversary of Studio Ghibli itself.
Yeah.
And they did a 4K re-release, like a 4K remaster of Princess Mononoke. And they put it back in theaters, and we went to go see it in theaters.
It was magnificent.
And it was magnificent. And we'll get into why this is now my number one movie. But the very first time I watched this, and this is... I don't think I've ever done this. I definitely didn't do it before, and I don't think I've done it since. The very first time I watched this movie, this is going to make me age myself, and you probably heard me talk about this on the stream before. I rented it on VHS from the library.
Hello.
To age myself. And I got home, I watched it, because I had seen Totoro before. That was my first Studio Ghibli movie.
Aw, that's so special.
Yeah.
I love that.
And that was even before I knew what anime even was. Like, that was just like, oh yeah, it's like Pokemon, right? Like, just like those cartoons where it's like, why does it feel so bright and colorful, and it moves a lot more than ours do, and it like,
Yeah, it does.
there's more, it's weirder than ours. But I watched My Neighbor Totoro as a kid, the Fox dub, mind you, the 20th Century Fox dub, the original dub, the superior dub, where they don't change any of the music. And May, the little girl, is Angelica's voice actor from Rugrats,
Oh my god.
and not Elle and Dakota Fanning, who
I didn't
are
know.
fine.
I didn't know that there were 2 dubs of it. Wow.
So I'm delaying the origin story of Princess Mononoke. They did an original dub, like Fox Presents. I guess they got the rights to, or maybe it was like a Disney Presents, because I know Disney did the distribution for Ponyo. I don't know if it was for Totoro, but once at some point down the line, Disney got the distribution rights for Totoro, and then they redubbed it. This is probably in like I don't know, the early 2000s, maybe like 2007. And they redubbed it with Elle and Dakota Fanning as the two main girls, and it's fine. It's acceptable. I don't really like it. Probably just mostly nostalgia. But yeah, they changed the music, which is like an integral part of My Neighbor Totoro.
I'm like not even sure which version I saw.
I know which one you saw because I went out of my way to rip the... Remember I recorded the VHS?
You did. You did? We watched it?
Yeah. We watched... Remember? Because the VCR was sitting in front of the TV for like 9 months. Because we watched it and then I was like, I'm going to record it to my computer. And then it took me forever to do so.
Yes. So I watched it with you the first time.
I don't know if was that the first time you had ever seen it?
I don't know why I can't remember. I don't think that was the first time. No, wait, yeah, okay. So the first time I watched it, it was in Japanese. The second, and the second time I watched it was with you, but I think I told you I'd never seen it in English before.
Yes, and I wanted to make sure that we got the, in my mind, superior version.
So that's what happened.
That's what it was, yeah. I still have my original VHS tape from my childhood. I just didn't have a VCR, so I put out a little like all points bulletin on Facebook because I went around to like a bunch of thrift stores and I was like, thrift stores have got to have VCRs. No one. Even finding an old dusty like DVD player was hard.
That's surprising.
Like all there was, it only went back as far as DVD, which then made me feel so old. This blue light is really intense. So I put a thing on Facebook and I was like, anybody got a VHS or a VCR that they're getting rid of? And luckily somebody from PCAD was... I was gonna say his name and direct you to his socials, but I don't know if he wants that out there. Someone that I knew from college was like, yeah, I've got one. Do you want to... Here, you can just come get it. I was like, do you want me to give you money for it? And he was like, no, I don't really care. And I was like, okay.
Dang.
And that's the one that has like, there's a piece of wood drilled into the top of it because his mom stepped on it.
It looked like Plank from Ed, Ed and Eddie.
It does look like...
Every time I see it, I just see Plank and I want to draw eyes.
Oh my god, I almost want to like get it out of the closet, but I think it's buried.
Well, we need to hear your origin story for...
Yes. So I had seen Totoro, loved it. Superior dub. And so I knew it was Studio Ghibli, and I was like, oh, this is the people that made My Neighbor Totoro. That very cute, wholesome,
yeah,
like childlike wonder and whimsy and and magic, and I was like, oh, here's their like a new one from them. I didn't know. Once I got over the shock of how very different those two movies are, I mean, I was in from the very first scene, and we can talk about specifics, but never in my life have I watched a movie. God, it was a VHS. I got home from the library, put the tape into my VCR, watched it with my mouth agape the entire time, and once the credits rolled, I immediately rewound it and watched it again.
How old were you then, just for context?
Oh, probably like 13.
Whoa, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I was just old enough to legally watch this PG-13 movie without getting in trouble from the cops or my mom.
Damn. I'm calculating from your birthday. I was like, but you weren't... My brain was like, you weren't... In 1997, you were only 8 years old. But I'm like, please, obviously he didn't have to watch it the second it came out. And how would that even be possible? Because it takes a while to dub things and or subtitle them even and release them. I had that thought in like 2 seconds. I was like, what do you mean 13? Wait, come on now. Be serious. When did you see Kiki's Delivery Service? When it first came out, or years later when it was streaming on Adult Swim? I mean, no. Cartoon Network.
Yeah. I was, if I could place... Maybe I'm getting the number wrong, but I can probably place the grade that I was in. I think I was in... 5th grade. Which is, that sounds right. That sounds like 13.
Mm-hmm.
So, blew my mind. Like, absolutely, just like I said, mouth agape, eyeballs bulged. A little bit sick to my stomach because I'd never seen something quite so violent.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know if that's true because I may have watched Akira first.
Damn.
But I was just so wrapped up in the wonder. I literally watched this movie and I was like, I think this is the best movie I've ever seen in my whole life. I rewound it and watched it again. And I don't think I've ever done that since. Definitely not before. But yeah, that just shows you how much of an impact it made on me. So I would love to hear if you recall the first time that you watched it.
Yeah. It's not as remarkable, I would say. I want probably my early 20s, so I was already an adult by the time I saw it. My first memory of a Studio Ghibli film was Spirited Away, and then very closely after Kiki's Delivery Service. Like, maybe even on the same week. They were streaming on Cartoon Network.
That's wild.
And that's where I watched everything. So I didn't even know it was anime, at that time. But
you saw Spirited Away first?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I guess that makes sense. They were only 4 years apart. Oh my God, they're only 4 years apart. They feel like so distinctly separate.
They do. They really do. They were always streaming at 8/7 Central on Cartoon Network.
At 8/7 Central on Cartoon Network. What channel number was it for you?
So we had Comcast. Now, well, I should say Xfinity, the artist formerly known as Comcast, because she doesn't like to go by Comcast anymore, but it's still Comcast. So Cartoon Network was 42 for me.
Okay, it was
Disney
70.
Channel was 43.
It was 73 for me. Cartoon Network.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. 23 and 73. It was Nickelodeon was 23. 73 was it's so funny. That's such a millennial thing. That to remember.
Because we had cable.
Yeah.
Back in the day. Now barely anybody has cable.
And 64 used to be The Box. Do you remember The Box?
No.
It's what became MTV2.
Oh, snap.
The Box was like a music they would just show music videos and then they would have a number that you would call and you would request like whatever music video you wanted to be played. And I think it was free, but I don't know. Maybe I racked up some bills on my parents' phone bill, which I definitely did with a Nintendo hotline.
Well, shit.
But yeah, so that's funny they showed Princess Mononoke on.
Oh no, I didn't get to that.
Oh,
yet.
sorry.
I was
you
just
said
mentioning
Kiki and Spirited
those
Away.
were my first ones.
They showed on
I was a kid.
Cartoon Network.
Yeah, I saw those when I was young. I have this thing where for comfort, when I like a movie, I just rewatch it over and over and over and over, as Andrew knows.
I was gonna say,
together.
How many times have you watched Wicked?
Yes.
All of the times.
All of the times. I stopped counting after 20.
Oh my God! Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's serious.
I knew it was double digits, but I didn't know it was double digits.
I'm addicted.
How many
and
times
I just
have
can't
you watched
get enough.
the Dungeons and Dragons movie?
Not so many. Maybe 4.
Oh wow! I thought it
5.
would be more than that. I thought they would be closer in number.
I want to watch that
20
again.
times.
20 times I've watched Wicked.
Is that the movie you've watched the most times?
Yeah, actually.
I think for me it's probably Princess Mononoke.
I love
that. Or the first Matrix.
Wait, let me focus. I should finish this story.
Yeah,
I'm leaving here.
I'm just inserting. I should.
No, I
should not do this motion while I'm just trying to insert.
I mean,
violently insert.
Hey. Now it's my audiobooks now.
No. Cover up. No one can see that you are a woman.
Yes. Yes. Don't let anyone know.
A woman with carnal desires.
Whoa, dear. Fleshly urges. Oh, God.
Sin.
It's just the Christian trauma. Yep. Anyway, so I was in my early 20s, and I was like, I just keep rewatching Spirited Away. I really want to make an active effort to watch other Studio Ghibli films. Which one should I watch? And so I saw one of them had princess in it. And I said, I love princesses. Oh, I wonder, it's like, and so I was like, Mononoke, that means like monster princess? Oh, maybe it's like, she's like a cursed princess.
Like, is this like Princess and the Frog?
I totally thought it was. I was like, oh my God, like, this is going to be super cute.
That's hilarious.
It was very bloody and terrifying and deep, and I literally remember, I was in my first apartment ever. It was so cute. But, I'm sitting there, and the TV that I had, everything in my first apartment I got, I was in the church and stuff, so like a bunch of like old white people who I went to church with,
The cult?
stuff at the cult.
Yeah.
If there was something they were getting rid of, they would just give it to me because I was like, I need stuff for my house. Yeah, I was definitely their sweet little charity project. Sweet charity.
God. Do you have clean water at your house? Are you just sleeping on the dirt floor like you did back in Africa?
Oh, God.
That's where you're from, right?
Oh, this is exactly my mother's experience when she was a international student in college. And I guess my experience. But yeah, so I watched it, of course. At the end, I was just jaw on the floor. I did not expect the depth. I did not expect,
the violence.
The violence. I heard a princess and it like got me in there and I was like, nothing about this is sugary, sweet, and lace princessy. There are different kinds of princesses, so my bad for assuming that it had to be frou-frou. Yeah. Because the title was princess, but it was definitely not frou-frou, and the theme was so beautiful and deep, and I literally like I went into it preparing for something lighthearted. Like, that's all I just didn't read too much into it. I was like, I don't want to know. I just want to watch it. But princess should be sweet. And, yeah. But I loved it.
I can't wait to see the castle.
I know. I was like, oh, my God. It was so funny to me, too, while I watched. I could feel slowly, as the minutes passed by, what I expected it to be, that dream dying away. Like I could feel myself slowly stop looking for the castle and the dress and where's the princess? Who's this wolf kid?
Yeah. Why does she have blood all over her mouth? Why did he just decapitate 3 people?
Does the princess show up after they fight? And then I want to say maybe by the time she and Lady Eboshi are fighting in the beginning, right before Ashitaka picks her up and like pushes the gate open. That scene, that scene was when I was like, I need to stop
while he's hemorrhaging.
Projecting. Yeah, that's what it took for me to be like, okay, I need to stop looking for something that is not here. I'm projecting what I thought it would be, I don't want to say what I wanted it to be. It's just, in my head, I was so sure, I guess. But once I let go of like, well, this isn't how I thought it would show up. I fell in love. So much so that I didn't watch it. I only watched it once a year for a long time.
As Miyazaki would?
As Miyazaki would like. And it's the only movie that I treat that way. No, that's not true. That's not true. Oh my goodness. Laputa, the Castle in the Sky, I treat that way, but I wasn't that wild about Castle in the Sky.
I'm so glad you say that because we're definitely on the same page there.
I want it to be. I appreciate what it's trying to do.
But
I'm not interested. It's kind of boring sometimes to me.
But I still think it's great. It's just like when you're up against Princess Mononoke and Spirited Away and Nausicaa, for God's sake.
That's it, Nausicaa. I can't watch that more than once a year. It changed my life.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to talk about that as well. But I was gonna say something.
When you're around these giants,
when you have, it's still like the worst Ghibli movie, or like, there are some duds in the Ghibli catalog. However, the worst Miyazaki movie is still better than most movies.
Yes, yes. So very true.
I love Laputa. I will definitively say it's probably my least favorite Miyazaki film. I mean, maybe only by a technicality, I may have to say Boy and the Heron, but that's only because we only watched it once, which we should watch it again.
I love it.
But I think I'd probably say Laputa is last, but I still love it.
Oh, it's great.
You know? Mm-hmm. So how old were you around this time when you watched it?
So I'm sure I was like 22.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely an adult, which I was glad for. That's why I think I was shocked when you watched it. You were little. I'm like, this. Yeah. And you said, didn't you tell me once that this is the only Ghibli film that has a high rating like this? Isn't the rating PG-13 or? But it's not.
I think Boy and the Heron has it too, because there's a couple of pretty violent scenes in that. I think that's PG-13. And there's a couple more, like Grave of the Fireflies has got to be.
I've got to see that.
No.
Oh, okay. No, don't.
Yes, it's great. It's one of the best non-Miyazaki ones, but it is so sad.
Prepare to cry.
So sad. Like, they only showed it. Theaters would only allow it to be shown as a double feature with My Neighbor Totoro. And so they would show Grave of the Fireflies first, and then they would show My Neighbor Totoro, so people wouldn't be leaving depressed.
Oh my gosh.
Because they would be they'd go to take the train home and just jump in front of it.
Oh my god.
So, yeah, it's very sad. But I was laughing when you said, you were like, oh yeah, I really wanted to just watch all the rest of the Ghibli movies around this time, because I did the exact same thing.
Really?
I'm kind of eyeing up my shelf over there. If you get to talking, I may step away and grab a notebook that I've had since I was like, I don't even know, 16, because I wrote down, and I drew a little Totoro like from the logo, and I wrote down every single Studio Ghibli film like at the time and the year that it came out, and I went through all of them, and I watched every single one. And to date, the only one that I still have not seen is from Up on Poppy Hill.
Oh, okay.
I know it's not a Miyazaki. It's not a Miyazaki, so it's like, you know, the ones that aren't him are good. They're all good movies. I don't think there's a bad Ghibli movie.
Right.
But his are just like on another level.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Did you have anything else about your origin story?
No,
or
that was it. We can move forward.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love to just like recount. I don't have a plan. I just like we can just talk through like the movie.
Yeah.
Just beginning to end, and if you haven't known by now, we're gonna spoil things. So if you haven't, if for some ungodly reason you both haven't watched this movie and are a viewer of ours on the experience part here, like that crossover there is wild to me. So if you've somehow never seen Princess Mononoke, it's my number one favorite movie of all time. So just watch it. Pause this video, go watch it, and then come back.
Yeah.
I'm sure most, if not all of you, have seen it. So I would also love to, okay, so we'll talk about the movie.
Mm-hmm. You want to go frame by frame in the movie, or you want to talk about aspects of the movie? Or
basically
both?
Frame by frame.
Okay.
But I would love to like keep in the back of your head. So how many times have you seen this movie?
Whoa. Probably less than 5 times in my whole life.
Really? Okay. I was thinking it'd be more than that.
I have not, because it moved me so deeply.
Yeah.
Not that the other movies, like I rewatch Howl's Moving Castle and Spirited Away more often, but even that often is more like 4 times a year, if that. I see why Miyazaki is so famous for saying like he wants Studio Ghibli films to be seen, like not consumed overly, like them. Over and over, but to be savored rarely. So I assume it's because he wants us to marinate on these lessons. They're not at all microwavable themes in here. These are deep themes of like in Princess Mononoke, environmentalism and climate change and the balance and respecting life as it comes in all its forms, and industrialization, sexism. Like there's some really heavy stuff. Humanity
versus nature, just in general. One of the oldest like story tropes.
Yeah. So it's not something that I personally, for me, and I wouldn't judge somebody if they were like, no, I watch it like 3 times a week. I'm like, okay. I would get overwhelmed. It's the material, the lessons, the theme is so dense. Yeah. It's like there's a couple of authors that write amazing books, like Toni Morrison's one of my favorite, and she wrote like that. Like she could write a 200-page book, not that long. It would take me 4 months to read it, just because every page I'd be putting it down and I'd be like,
I need to absorb
that. Yeah. And so that's why I haven't watched Princess Mononoke too much. It's so deep.
Yeah. I know I raised my hand and pointed at myself. I don't do that anymore. Not necessarily because of that, but that is a really valid reason. However, my first year of watching it, there was like a summer. It was around the same time. Yeah, this tracks, because if that came out in 1997, the year that I saw it, I think it was 99, because I remember I would watch The Matrix at the same time, and that came out in 99. Maybe it was like 2000. So like 10, 11 sounds right for how old I was. There was a summer where I guess it wouldn't have been summer. There was a year where I would come home every day from school and I would watch it was one of 3 movies. And pretty much on rotation. One of these things is not like the other. It was The Matrix, Princess Mononoke, and Spaceballs. And I swear I can probably quote all 3 of those movies almost word for word, front to back. I had to stop myself from doing it when we watched Spaceballs somewhat recently.
Yo.
So yeah, I watched that movie religiously. Mononoke. So the reason I asked how many times you had watched it is because something to keep in the back of your mind as we're just going to go through, maybe not frame by frame because we'll be here all night.
Yeah. Moments.
Yeah. I'm curious if there's anything that popped out to you specifically this time that you noticed, because we saw it in theater. I forget if we said if we saw it in theaters, but they did a 4K remaster and they re-released it in theaters, which we often do the Studio Ghibli Fest and we see these movies in theaters. But they're just, you know, the 1080p high def remasters. This was clearer than I've ever seen it. It wasn't like, it didn't blow my mind, the level of the quality, but it was still very good. But there's something about seeing it in theaters on the big screen, on the silver screen. Like, I have a big nice TV. I'm pointing as if like the viewers can see it, but that's what we're watching ourselves on right now. And it's great. I got a good sound system, but like the theater, something about the theater. I always notice different new things. And there was a couple of things that I noticed this time that just maybe like keep in your mind as we're going through it. So in the very, 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 very first scene of the movie, there's something that, or maybe not something I noticed, but a thought that I had. In the beginning, with the kind of shot of the misty like forest, you have the voiceover of Keith David, who voices Akoto, the big white boar. He says, you know, like, in ancient times, man walked with, those were the days of gods and of demons. And I was thinking, like, I wonder if there's a significance there. And we'd probably have to go back to the Japanese to know this for sure. Like, in the Japanese, did they use Akoto's voice actor to do that scene? And if so, is there a significance? Or is it just because Keith David has an amazing voice? And they were like, you can be the narrator, you'll also be a character. So I wonder if there's, like, some kind of angle there that's like, why did they choose to have Akoto of all characters? And it's almost like he's reminiscing. So then I'm like, but we know that he dies. So I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it because I'm obsessing over this movie, but it's almost like signifying like he's looking back on it. Like he says in ancient times. And I'm like, so
he must have lived a long time.
Did he get reincarnated or something? Because the forest spirit kills him.
Right, but before he's killed, he looks pretty old. How long do you think he's been alive? Like, how old do you think Akoto might be?
Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. Because
so he's probably reminiscing on a time when he was younger.
Right, but he says those were the days of gods and demons. But, like, these are still the days of... Or maybe he's saying...
when they ruled without fear of humans eradicating everything, because...
I guess because they are kind of on the way out.
Yeah.
When we jump in.
Those were maybe he's implying, like, those are the heyday of gods. And, like, that was the time when they confidently and publicly ruled.
Yeah. I mean, he says like, great beasts walk the earth.
You're saying because he said those were the days that he can't be talking about a time he lived through? In his past? Is that how you feel?
It sounds like he's in the future referring to the time that the movie takes place. But you bring up a good point that they were really starting to see the end of their lives. And he's hundreds of years old anyway, because when one of the human hunters sees him for the first time, he goes, that can't be him. They say he died 100 years ago. Or Jigo says that, played by Billy Bob Thornton. He's like, yeah, they say he died 100 years ago. So even just that, 100 years from the last time you thought that he died, like much less, you know, his whole lifespan before that. And he was already old then.
Yeah.
Because the other hunter's like, I know those old tusks. So he was old 100 years ago.
Jeez.
So, yeah, it was just something that I noticed. I was like, it literally could mean nothing, though. So, I don't know.
I doubt it.
But it's interesting.
I'm sure it does mean something. Studio Ghibli always seems to prioritize symbolism.
Yeah.
You know, and finding depth in that which appears ordinary.
Oh, that's
really
like,
love.
you just distilled all of Studio Ghibli. The romanticizing the ordinary. Which I don't really think this movie does all that much. Because it's one of the most grand stories. Like, I think there's a lot more moments of that in, like, something like Spirited Away, of the grand stories. But the ones like Kiki and, like, Howl's Moving Castle, like, there's so many more. It's such a smaller scale story. Like, there's not great beasts and wars and stuff.
I could see that.
So those movies definitely have a lot more of the quiet moments of, like, sitting and drawing or, like...
Yeah.
But
Mononoke really seems to prioritize connection.
Yeah.
Like relationships. Whose relationship with who isn't in relationship with who. Like, that seems more of a focus.
Yeah.
As opposed to making, like, those ordinary, spreading jam on bread and doing these ordinary daily tasks that we do and making them extraordinary.
Yeah.
Letting them be as extraordinary as they are, but we normalize them and we're used to them. I also wanted to, if I could answer your question.
Yeah.
As you had asked, if I noticed anything new this time around. And I did, but it feels... Am I...
I was going to say...
Off? I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say... maybe hold them until we get to those scenes.
Oh, didn't you just share what yours was?
Yeah, but it was the opening scene of the movie.
Oh, okay.
So, like, if you notice something about when he gets to Irontown, then, like, maybe we can talk about that when we get to that point of talking about it. Is what I'm saying.
Please help me remember, because I'm scared I'll forget about forget the point. But okay, yeah.
Okay.
I'm afraid I'll forget it by the time we get there and be like, what was I gonna...
What scene does it involve?
Oh, it's not actually a scene. It's more like just a constant theme.
Oh, then we can talk about that now.
Okay, yeah. It was, again, I'm a little embarrassed to say this because it feels so obvious, but it never really hit me until this time. Like, Ashitaka is carrying their animosity in his body. Like, Lady Eboshi's animosity towards the forest spirit, and of course San. I don't know why I want to keep calling her Ran. San, San's animosity towards the humans and the wolves, and like he's like such a mediator in this, but like it didn't really click for me until now. Like, what's killing him is feeling their hate. Their hate is killing him. Like, even the times throughout the movie where he's standing between them, like, he's verbally trying to be a liaison between the two of them, but also his health is affected by...
Yeah.
Like, he's dying, but that... I didn't realize that dying is happening the more this hate grows. It's not just this scar.
He says fear and anger only makes it grow stronger. It's eating me alive, and very soon now it will kill me.
He just said it, and somehow it never really clicked. I thought he was just... I don't know why I thought he was low-key talking not symbolically, like metaphorically.
Literally?
I didn't realize he was speaking literally. Like, I thought he was like, your hatred is killing you and everyone around you.
But
like,
I think it's both.
And I didn't realize that. I thought that was fascinating. And then I felt kind of dumb because I was like, oh, okay, well, duh. Like,
no, there's a lot.
It's right there.
There's a lot that this movie throws at you. And Ghibli does this thing really well where it's like the literal messages and the like symbolic messages are so poignant, but they can be subtle. They can be subtle, but also like latch their like fangs into you to not to make a wolf joke. But yeah, I would say maybe hold that until we get to if you have more to say
No,
on that.
I don't. No.
After
that's
he
it.
gets cursed. Oh my god, spoiler, he gets cursed. So we
Sorry, I appreciate the. I just didn't want to. I've scatterbrained.
No,
Anyway.
it's okay. We get that voiceover at the beginning. It's like, these are the days of gods and demons, and then it kind of zooms into the forest, and then you see like shadows moving, and Ashitaka. We open on our hero. He's a prince of this village, this small village, and he's riding an elk, which is like the coolest. Like if I could have, Sorry, Princess Mononoke. I was gonna say if I could have an animal companion from any anime, I mean I'd probably pick a Pokemon, but like an animal companion, I would probably pick Kilala.
Oh my god, hell yeah.
But Yakul is a close second. I would love to just have a big ass deer with the big antlers to ride around. But he's just scouting, and then he goes to this watchtower, and there's this old man Jisan, which is very funny that's his name.
Yeah.
Jisan. It's literally
It's just old man.
I'm like, did they know that meant old man in Japanese,
and then just did
or
it
did
anyway?
they think that the character's name was Oji-san?
Oh, who can say? That's a good question.
It was kind of early in the localization scene. Thank God they didn't change anything to jelly donuts.
Oh god, nothing beats a jelly donut.
And while I do have to say, even though he has turned out to be a real piece of shit, we do have Neil Gaiman to thank for the accuracy of the localization of this movie.
Oh, right. I remember this story.
Yeah. And the fact that another shitty sex offender, Harvey Weinstein, wanted to edit it down for Western audiences. I think it was or I don't know if it was Miyazaki himself or if it was Isao Takahata, sent him a katana that was etched with the words "no cuts." So awesome.
It would be
like loud and clear.
I don't know if you mentioned this or not, but it would be really awesome if the katana itself was blunt and couldn't cut anything too, just to drive the point home.
I'm sure it was sharp to drive the threat home.
Oh, hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jisan says, there's something there. It isn't human. And this big ass globby, tentacly looking, like it kind of looked like the nightmare from Little Nemo, if you guys know that deep cut. Just a blobby, gross, like just being of hatred and evil and anger.
And pain.
That's a good point. Comes bursting through the wall, almost kills his deer
and some little girls,
and one of which is Ashitaka's sister, Kaya, and he's like, all right, time to fight now. And so he tries to calm this creature down first. He doesn't just jump right to violence. And this is kind of the start of something that I really noticed and appreciated this time, and that will carry through is Ashitaka's healthy masculinity. He's such a beacon of healthy masculinity, like the protective nature, the like strong but only when I have to be. I'll be violent if I have to be to protect somebody that needs protecting. He doesn't go right to violence. He goes and he takes such a humble approach to it first. He's like, mighty lord, god or demon, whatever you may be, please calm your fury, leave the village in peace. And it's just blindly just charging forward.
He's a prince too, to your point.
Right.
Like he could be a dick if he wanted to be. Like he would if he was going to pull rank on people and talk haughtily.
He could be, not in my village.
That's
how
really
about you?
Cool.
Yeah. I love that about him. He's one of my favorite, I was going to say male characters, but just of any gender. And this thing is just ripping through the woods. I love the music in the immaculate music all the way,
All
the way through, as always. Joe Hisaishi
sweeping.
But the scene where it's like I'm gonna say camera, even though it's all drawings. The camera is like straight on to Ashitaka, booking it on Yakul, and the monster behind him just like
the grass all burning away,
and the music there is just like dun 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 dun.
Yeah,
like it's so like this thing's right behind you.
Yeah.
And he's trying to get it to calm down, and then it you see it like it notices the sister and like the other little girls, and it starts running towards them, and then he's like, nope, all right, business time. That's my sister. That's the next generation of my tribe, like my village. And he's like, all right, gets the bow out, and he shoots it in the eye, and then it freaks out. And then it's like, oh, and so Ji-san was like, that thing is cursed, don't let it touch you. And then he fights this thing, and the tentacle comes at him, and he holds up his arm to block it from hitting him, and it wraps around his arm, and it's like sizzling, and he hits it again. He swings by again, hits it with another arrow. The thing dies. The gross tentacle things leave the body, and it's like it's a boar. You see that it's like a giant boar underneath. Anything about that scene that you want to talk about? Because I'll just keep going.
Oh, God. It never ceases to not break my heart for the boar. I every time I see that, I'm reminded, like, humans, we really do wreck everything.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
and you... Like, he wouldn't even be there if it wasn't for the humans who were just... Now, see, I don't want to get too far ahead, but, like, I love that scene. We really are just thrown right into the opening action. Like, we are in the world. There is no gently, come with me, and you'll be... There's no tiny steps into the world. It's... You're in.
Yeah, or the American equivalent, which is always like, in a world. Like, they always have the, like,
They tell you while they show you.
Yeah, or they tell you before they show you, and it's like, I love Star Wars, but, like, the opening crawl type thing where it's just like, here's what's going on in the world, and here's everything that you need to know. Ghibli movies don't do that. They just show you and they let you figure it out because they trust your intelligence.
They do.
They don't.
Especially for kids, too.
Yes, I love that you pointed that out when we watched, was it Boy and the Heron?
It was Boy and the Heron. That was like,
such a great point.
It solidified something I felt with all of the movies, but never had words for, and I was just like, okay, that's not something I've seen in a lot of kids' movies in the United States.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing. It's fascinating.
Yeah. So, and yeah, the pain, you notice the hurt, like the pain in this boar who... We eventually know his name to be Nago.
Nago was beautiful and strong.
You wolves must have eaten him.
I'm like, what?
I mean, to them, he was.
He was, yeah.
And he wasn't very warty. They're all very warty. And he was smooth.
True.
So, the boar is basically bleeding out. All of the villagers come around and they're like, don't touch him.
And the last thing he says before he dies is like, you will know my pain.
Yeah. So the wise woman of the village comes, and she comes with some kind of
Adelaide
tonic to Adelaide of the pasture.
Good woman
comes, and this light just keeps really wanting to be like, the wise woman comes and is like, keep away from you, like he's got an evil wound. She tells the sister to pour some kind of tonic on him, which like sizzles and burns, and it looks so I love what the scene right after he gets like he rips the tentacles off, and it's just like he's shaking, his arm is like, and you see the sweat, that Ghibli big beads of sweat starting to like bead out.
I love it.
It looks so painful. And yeah, like you said, so then the wise woman goes up to the boar and then bows and is like, I bow before you, this nameless god of rage and hate. A burial, a burial ritual will be performed, and funeral rites performed here in your honor, and it's like
and he still is just like,
fuck you
like
dumb dick.
That's exactly his last words before his bones just
he melts away like an old souffle.
Melts
away like an old souffle. Alexander Hamilton, come save the day.
Mr. Manuel Miranda.
Yeah, that's me. So then we cut to the village elders, I guess, talking about. Oh, so they're all gathered around the wise woman. She's doing some kind of stone reading thing, and she's like, "Well, you have been cursed." And
surprise.
One of my two favorite lines from this movie. I actually cried at this point because I was in my mind thinking like of how much of a just excellent portrayal of positive masculinity that Ashitaka is. She says, "My prince, are you prepared to learn what fate has foretold you?" And he says, "Yes, I was prepared the moment I let my arrow fly." Like, he knew immediately the consequences of this, but he was like, "I don't care. I'm protecting my people."
Oh my goodness.
And then she tells him basically, she shows him the iron ball, which is like a bullet, basically like a crude early shot, flintlock.
Because we're moving into, from a historical context, we're in an era where Japan is moving into an Iron Age. Yeah. I'm guessing they're Iron Age.
Oh, I want Iron Age.
Iron Age is also a delicious Korean barbecue spot.
Yeah.
Somewhere. I won't say where. Because we're trying to, not try to tell everybody where we live. But it's in...
You can say where.
It's in Maryland.
They know we live in PA, which is a big state.
I guess that's true.
It's in Maryland. It's a long trip for us, but it's worth it.
But yeah, the fact that like historically we're in the Iron Age, there's some trade, I guess, happening and whatnot.
Yeah. Not that this is Japan, but like there's a lot of parallels.
Really?
I don't.
Is this not historical? I assumed this was historical Japan.
Maybe. Oh, maybe it is because they do have like daimyos and samurai and stuff.
It seems like we're moving right. Like we're ending the Sengoku Jidai and moving forward, and maybe I don't know if the Edo period.
I never really thought about that.
Yeah,
I don't know why. I always thought it was just a different world.
Oh no, it seems so grounded in Japanese history to me.
You're so right. The more that I think about it, especially in the beginning of the movie, what am I thinking?
Like his tribe and the way that other people talk about like the legendary tribe. I was like,
and his
people riding red elks and being known for that.
They kind of seem to me like maybe they're parallel to like the Ainu.
Oh, true. Right, the Ainu. I kind of thought that too.
Which are like, if you don't know, like the indigenous population of Japan before colonization from
Japan. The Japanese government. Yeah. They're on that colonizer time too.
Yeah.
But yeah, oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah. So she basically said, she shows him the ball, the iron ball. She said this was in the bore. It caused him great pain and shattered his bones and burned his flesh, and it's very visceral. And and she says this is what hurt him so. And she goes, this came from somewhere to the west. That's all we really know, because they're sequestered off. They're one of the other, I guess, members of the elder. I don't know if it's a council or one of the other elders is like, it's been 500 years since the last emperor destroyed our lands and sent us, pushed us. They do
sound like that I knew.
Yeah. And so they're definitely not part of civilization, we'll say, as we know it. They're hidden. They're very much hidden. And the wise woman says to Ashitaka, she says, you cannot. Oh my God! Why can't I think of the line? You
Fake fan.
fake fan. It's like I've never seen the movie. You cannot alter your fate, child, but you can rise to meet it if you choose.
Oh, that was a great line.
Yeah.
Ooh, I love that line.
Yeah. And when he says, I was prepared for this the moment I let my arrow fly, I was like, oh,
So
I love him.
powerful.
But him leaving means...
Oh, yeah, because he can't stay. That's also what they told him.
Right, because he's cursed. Him leaving, all the elders are like, this is our youngest prince. Our bloodline is thinning. He was basically our last chance at continuing on. It's a bunch of old dudes.
He's banished.
He has to cut his hair. He's got his hair like up in basically what I have, but on the top of his head.
Mm-hmm.
Where did my hair go? It's like up here, and then he takes a little knife and he cuts the ponytail, and it falls down. And they're like, you're dead to us, basically, like because of our laws. And then
we can't even watch you go.
They can't. Yeah, they cover their eyes. They can't watch him go. That's, imagine the pain of that. Like,
and the reason he's being banished is because, like you said, to protect people.
Yeah.
And they know it. I think one of the elders was like, he's being punished for protecting us.
Right. The prince got that wound by saving our lives.
Like,
do we just sit here and watch him die?
Yeah. The elder's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Old lady said, that's what I said.
Yeah.
Fuck him. Like, okay.
Yeah. And
it's so terrible.
So he leaves. He's like, well, I'm going to go rise to meet my fate, like she says. And then his sister, he leaves in the middle of the night. His sister comes running out. She's like, Ashitaka, I don't want, take this. She gives him this like crystal dagger, and he's like, I can't take this. And like, what are you doing here? It's forbidden. She's like, you think I care about this shit? You're my brother. Like, I love you. And she's like, take this so you don't forget me. And he's like, I can never forget you. And then he runs off,
sweet.
And then the music swells, and it's
yes, and the hero is off. It's very grand.
It's so grand. Such a great opening, and again, setting the stage, showing you, like, tell me or show me.
Mm-hmm.
And it just shows you, and you just feel like this world is so rich, and the customs of their village, and all the world building is just incredible.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes, and there's shots of him like traveling. You can tell he's going a really long way.
Mm-hmm.
And then
he gets caught up with some of the Emperor's soldiers
who
are fighting someone.
Oh yeah.
He's like running past all that mess.
Yeah, I was gonna jump ahead to like Lady Eboshi, but yeah.
Oh yeah, and then he runs into Lady. Oh wait, does he run into Lady Eboshi, or is it that he finds her men?
You were right. He comes across like he's like, is this a battle? And there's a bunch of people fighting, and he's like, no, it's a massacre. And there's a bunch of samurai just killing villagers, and so he's like, hey, I'm not gonna stand for this injustice. Mm-hmm. And he pulls out his bow.
There's that healthy masculinity,
right? He pulls out his bow, pulls it back, and then his arm, where he had the cursed, which now where is left is like kind of scarred and purpley.
Yeah,
like,
and it's just climbing up his arm like slowly.
Yeah, every time you see it, it slowly gets bigger. But he pulls his bow back, and then all of a sudden he's got like a gigantic arm, and it's like muscly. And he's like, stop! And there's a samurai who's like killing like an old woman basically, and he lets the arrow go, and it just like, and it just like rips the guy's arms off.
Yeah.
Which is like, he clearly was trying to disarm the guy too.
Yeah.
Because he was aiming like for his hands, like the sword. It hits the sword.
And
it just rips his arms off.
Yeah.
And then two other samurai come out, and he's like, what's happening, my arm? And he just like blows their heads off. Like just donk. And then the other samurai are like, it's a demon. And then he's like, oh, what's happening to me? And he runs away. Then he
goes to
goes to the village,
right,
where he meets up with.
He's trying to buy food or something.
Yeah, he's trying to buy rice.
Yeah,
and he's like kind of making a bit of a commotion because he tries to pay for it with like a gold nugget.
Because that's, I'm guessing, all they have up in his village.
Right, that's like their currency. And she's like, "What are you doing, you little thief? This isn't money." And then that gets the attention of Jigo, who's kind of our antagonist.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's a fair term. I never thought of it that way, but I'm like, yeah, he is, isn't he?
Yeah. My gird, Ertster.
Hey.
It's the forest spirit.
It's the first spirit.
It's the first spirit.
Hey, Parallax.
What's up, Parallax? Welcome. We're doing a deep dive on my favorite movie of all time, Princess Mononoke, because we just watched it in theaters for the 4K re-release.
Awesome.
So yeah, Jigo is this monk guy. You can immediately tell he's kind of shady. Hello, sir and madam.
Hello. Good evening to you, sir.
Misses the experience point, as he calls you sometimes.
Oh, I'm flattered and honored.
I'm rewatching that this weekend.
Hell
Hell yeah.
yeah.
Yes, it's so good. Oh my god, it's so good. So we immediately get a weird vibe from Jigo.
Yeah.
And he goes over and he's like, oh, well, hey, I'll take that gold nugget and I'll pay for the rice if that's cool with you. Ashitaka then leaves. He's like, he follows him. And he's like, "Oh, hey, boy, I seen you fight I seen you fight those samurai. You fight like a demon." And then I won't. I will literally say the whole movie word for word.
They have dinner together.
I shouldn't do that. They eat together, and Ashitaka finally opens up, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm trying to find." He's like, "Do you know what this is?" He shows him the ball, and Jigo lies and says he never has, which I find really interesting. Like, what does?
I almost forgot about that. Yeah, he does.
What does he have to gain by... Maybe he doesn't want Ashitaka as an enemy, but he doesn't know why he's looking for it.
Right.
Or looking for somebody who has...
Does he just want the least amount of interlopers as possible, no matter what the reason?
Maybe.
It's something to think about.
So they share... they swap stories a little bit, and Jigo realizes where he's from. He's like, "Oh, I've only seen one bowl like this before in my life." Like his rice bowl is really pretty red bowl, which I really want one like that. And he says, "Oh yeah, you ever heard of the Amishi people? They're like they're said to like live way in the north, and they ride big red elks, and
like that one you have right there,
like that one that you have, and they use stone arrowheads like you do."
What a coincidence.
He doesn't say anything, and he's like, "Don't worry, I won't tell anyone where you're from."
Damn.
Which kind of feels like he's starting to try to assert
power, or like you.
Now I know this secret, so you can't go against me now, or I'll tell everyone.
That's what it's giving, but in a friendly way, like just
in just an oily way,
like putting your thumb on somebody, but like not in an aggressive way, just in a like, remember, I have something over you.
That's such. I never realized how impactful that is as like an introduction to this character.
Yeah, it tells us a lot without having to be explicit about that person's mentalities and characters.
And there's still like a gray area there. Like you don't know for sure if like what the uncertainty there of like he doesn't come outright and say like, "Well, now I know this, so you better do what I say or else I'm going to tell everybody."
No,
but
it's like he's preparing and planting seeds. He's playing chess, not checkers.
Yes.
He's like, "I may not need to intimidate you, but I would love to just... This is my little operation right here, and you can hang out on the corners of it if you want to. Just know these are the corners.
Yeah.
Just in case you get lost and wander in here, just... I'm watching you.
Yeah.
Have a good day." Like...
And... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it just seemed like... I agree with you. It seemed very calculated.
Yeah.
Not full force yet, but like... I could just ignore this young man, or I could subtly just be like, "I don't know what you're up to. Just know that this is a focus of mine.
Yeah.
And, stay out of my way." Smiley face.
And we get to see an even more, like, he goes one next level. Like, we get to see his manipulation firsthand, because the next thing he says is, he goes, "Oh, did you hear that there's this mystical forest that people say that the forest spirit lives there and can cure any ailment?"
Someone be real lucky to get that.
Anyway, good night. And then Ashitaka leaves in the morning, and then you hear Jigo. He goes, "I'll see you there, my friend." Like, he knows he sent him there on purpose, because we know what Jigo really wants there, which we'll get to.
Right. So then after that, I think Ashitaka comes across a river.
Yeah, I wanted to say one more thing about that scene. As I was thinking about it again, I like maybe I don't like, but get out of here, you dumb shit. You shit, come in here and you spam my shit. Get the fuck out of here. Play slow. I can't spell spam. There we go. Ban. Drop the ban hammer.
Yeah.
I really like. So I don't have to like this, but it is compelling. Jigo says something like Ashitaka opens up and he's like, "Yeah, I fought this freaking giant evil boar monster. I saved my village. For that I was cursed. This'll kill me." And Jigo just says like, "Well, look around. Like, everything, like, this used to be a nice little village, but then there must have been a flood or a landslide or fire. Only sure thing is that everybody's dead." And he goes, "So you think you're under the," he says, "You say you're under a curse, so what? So's the whole damn world." And it's like, it's that callousness that, like, it's a really interesting look into his mind and, like, just how he sees the world. And it's just like, literally do whatever you have to anyone you have to make it in this world and get, like, everything sucks. Do what you can to, like, squeeze the joy out of it.
And don't apologize about it.
Yeah. And don't expect, like, special treatment. Which is, like, really, really dismissive of Ashitaka, and I hate it.
Yeah.
But it is compelling. And the more that you know about his character, the more that this makes sense. Anyway, so he comes across. We see it cuts to, like, the top of a mountain. We see Lady Eboshi. She's, like, leading a bunch of cattle and rice and stuff across, like, a kind of treacherous mountain terrain. All of a sudden, a bunch of freaking gigantic wolves come running in, tear shit up. They're ready for them, though. They're shooting at him with their little cannons and stuff, and then it's all hell's break loose. And then the wolves run away. And then
some of her men fall.
So some of her men and some of the oxen, like, fall off of this cliff. And then her, like, right-hand man is like, that was the wolves that you were talking about that we should be worried about? They're not so big. And she's like, they're just pups. Wait till you see her mother.
Oh my goodness.
And then the big ass wolf, like the size of a bus, comes in and is just wrecking the place. Comes up to Lady Eboshi. She shoots the head wolf with another flintlock gun, bullet right in the breast, just like the boar. Oops, that's a spoiler for later.
Hello.
Then flamethrowers the shit out of her, and she falls off too.
Jeez.
So then she's like, and what an introduction to Lady Eboshi.
Yeah, that's a great way to establish her.
Like, she's
that's
not afraid of
her.
nothing.
That's her in a nutshell. She doesn't care. Yeah, she's not afraid of nothing.
Yeah.
She probably should be a little more afraid than she is
in
certain moments, but I'm not trying to be called a pick-me or not a girl's girl.
Right.
I just can't support her wrongs.
Girl boss.
I can't gaslight gatekeep girl boss with her.
I know.
And we'll get to that, of course, but
wait, I heard the male equivalent of that today, and it's like
pick me?
No, of gaslight gatekeep girl boss. And it's what is it? I think it's mansplain, manipulate, manslaughter.
In that order.
Mansplain, manipulate, manslaughter.
Damn, that's terrible. That's so real.
I know, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, damn.
But she is such a bad bitch, and I don't even like using that word, but I'm not using it in a derogatory way. Like, she is that bitch. Mm-hmm. She's like, whatever. Like, I'll kill anyone who tries to stop me and my plans for what I want to do, which we'll get into that. Like, even to the point where, like, her right hand guy Gonza is like, should we, like, go back for the guy she pushed over the cliff?
Right.
And she's like, they're dead, let's get the living home.
I have so many thoughts on Lady Eboshi.
Yeah.
And some criticisms, and
sure,
I do like parts of her. Do you want to?
Yeah, like, I would say now, after that introduction, like, or maybe do you want to talk about this after we get to see more of her, like,
sure.
in Irontown?
Yeah.
So we get, like, this quick view of Lady Eboshi. Like, you already can tell she's in charge. Mm-hmm.
She's very accustomed to making hard decisions very quickly.
Yeah, that's a great way to put that. So then it cuts back to Ashitaka, And then he comes across like the aftermath of like, everything that fell off of the cliff, the men, the oxen, the supplies, and he pulls a couple of them out of the water that are still alive. And then he sees the wolves who have come down to like, one of the giant wolves has an entire ox in its mouth and it's like pulling it out of the water like for a snack. And then he sees the big wolf, their mother, like bleeding because she was shot by Lady Eboshi. And then all of a sudden, a human girl with like a wolf cloak and the mask and the ears and the big jingly earrings comes out, and the like, I love her like dagger necklace.
Yeah.
Comes running up to this giant
dagger. I thought those were teeth.
Or yeah, maybe they're teeth of something, but they kind of look like daggers.
Oh, true, yeah.
Or maybe they're daggers that are supposed to look like teeth. She comes running up to the big wolf and just immediately starts like, puts her face in the wound and just starts sucking the blood out and spitting it out and just like.
It's so interesting.
It's so feral and so brutal.
Disease.
And that's I think you said that when we saw it. You were like, girl, disease. You have wolf AIDS now.
Blood-borne
what
diseases.
About the disease?
There's so much happening here. In your mouth, baby doll. Blood. In your very mouth.
And she doesn't hesitate.
She doesn't. And I'm like, I think back to Tarzan. I think back to any story I've ever read about someone finding a child raised in the wild, or raised by wolves. Like this trope of human beings being raised by animals always. I've never seen one that felt realistic because they always show them with clear skin, and I'm like,
right.
If you never had shoes and you just grew up from baby time, from the time you were a baby to an adult with animals, you shouldn't know how to talk to humans. One, you should be probably in pain. You're probably sick. Like, you're sleeping out in the water in the rain and shit.
Oh, totally.
Like, you're from a baby. I can't fathom a baby living. Like, you should be dead. I'm not saying the animals wouldn't care for you, but what do they know about... Babies are so fragile.
Right.
Human babies? Nah, you dead.
And all it ever is like, oh, I was born in the wild, so I have long hair.
That's it. That's as wild as they get. There's no cuts.
No body hair, no like... Yeah, they would be just
torn
filthy.
Up. And you're roughing housing with these animals. They're scratching you. You're scratching them because you think you're one of them, and they're cutting your skin like ribbons.
We're so fragile compared to any animal.
They play by biting. Like, how are you telling me you're a wolf cub?
I know.
They pick up their young by the... They take their muzzles and bite their young's necks.
Wait, now I need somebody to draw Moro,
what she should look like.
The big wolf with just human San in her mouth by the neck, just like, and San just like...
Like, just neck
like, come over here.
Along. Just like, what in my mind the realistic version of San's life would be like, they found her when she was like a baby, and then not 4 months later she died,
right,
either due to weather or starvation
or dysentery
and that's not. And I feel like they would just keep bringing her like pieces of a dead boar and be like, why isn't the baby eating like the other cubs?
Just eat it.
And she's just like, I have no teeth. I wouldn't even know how to eat that. There's hair on that. There's blood on that. I'm a baby.
Well,
babies can't even have water. Did you know that?
Yeah, they'll get the shits.
If they're like, I think it's under 6 months, but they can't have just plain water. I was like, you're made of water.
Yeah.
Babies are delicate. She would have been dead.
This is a weird thing to think about, but she probably like suckled from the mother, because there are the two other younger pups.
Yeah, but even in that scenario, which that could work actually. I mean, you're
mammal's a mammal.
Let me tell you something. I learned that mammals are mammals when I was in a show a few years ago, and I was holding the stage manager's newborn son. And she was like, just hold him for a minute. I'll be right back. I just have to use the bathroom. Do you mind? I was like, no, he's so cute. I'm just chatting. And I just feel wet, like, on my chest. And I think I had a shirt like that. Obviously I got a little cleavage out here. So I had a shirt like this. So I'm just holding him. And I'm just feeling, I'm like, what is that sound? Like, I just hear that. And I'm talking with other people. So I'm not really looking at him. I'm just like, And yeah, he was going in for it. He was trying to get some. There was no dairy in here, but he didn't know that. So I do think babies' mouths search for that stuff.
Yeah.
But even then, I'm like, okay, so she's still a wolf. So there's animals also licking where this human baby is licking. Blood infection, diseases. If there's mud on her nipples, or
she's probably got worms.
She's probably got worms in this newborn
and ticks.
People don't even let people see their newborn babies for months because they have no immune systems.
Yeah,
none. But I'm being extra. Hold on, like she said. What I love about Ghibli is that they are.
I think that's supposed to be never afraid.
Never afraid to give you the sweet and cuddly, but in the same sentence, they let it tear your arm off. They really do, don't they?
Especially this movie. Like, there's a lot of really, really wholesome and wonder, a lot of wonder and magic and mystical, and just the power of nature. But then, like, really, really violent.
Yeah.
Which is it's just a very interesting choice that they chose to make this one really violent. I guess it's to hammer home the seriousness of the nature of this story, but
climate change and deforestation, which are themes throughout a lot of other Ghibli films too. I mean, look at why Haku couldn't go back home with Chihiro.
Right, because his river
became over with apartment complexes.
Parking lot or something. Yeah.
It's all boarded up. She's like, this house is over there now. He's like, that must be why I can't go back.
Oh, no.
He said it with a smile, but I know it hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, so
yeah, she's spitting out blood.
She's trying her best vampire and spitting out the blood. And this is such a gross, but I think it's cool.
It's a great way to introduce a character.
Yes, but there's a specific moment where she's like, and then he pops up, or she notices him, and she goes, and she's got a mouthful of blood, and she turns around and looks at him, and he's like, oh shit, they saw me. So then he comes up, and he's like, hey, are you the forest spirit that I heard about? Have I at last come to the realm of the forest of the spirit of the forest? My name is Ashitaka. I've traveled a long way. And she just goes, spits the blood out, wipes it across, and just goes, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And then they leave. Like, she literally says, go away. And then they leave, and he's like, oh, okay. Well,
literally, now that you say it like that, this is the third character that we're talking about, and I'm realizing every character up to this point, like, their first introduction says everything about who they are.
Yes.
And that's powerful. Not everybody has that ability to do that without either being heavy-handed or too subtle.
And what good storytelling.
Great storytelling, yeah.
Yeah.
It's so powerful that each of their first opening scenes tells us everything we ever need to know.
Yeah.
About this character.
Oh my God, totally.
So quickly. The first thing we see is her mouth full of blood.
Yeah.
Like she has that perfect moment, I think they don't do this as much anymore, but back when I was young, the 90s,
slow-mo turnaround.
It'd be they'd be like, oh my God, Power Rangers probably did stuff like this too. If there's a character, let's say they work at a mechanic shop,
yeah,
and the camera is only panning over their feet walking towards the car, from the back, their like back muscles flexing, and then they'll be like wiping their hand on a rag, and someone will be like, hey Joey, you got another car part for me? And it'll turn around and be like, yeah, what you need, chief? And they're holding a tool. That's when I think it can get like, okay,
yeah,
you're really forcing this.
We get it.
It can be endearing sometimes, but Princess Mononoke did not do that. Like that, you just see them in the middle of their normal lives.
Yeah.
This is how San lives every day. I don't feel like they're just cheating to the camera like, everywhere you look.
Oh my God.
This is me.
The freeze frame. Ashitaka.
San.
No, it's and what I have to wonder at what point in the story when they're first starting to write this, and they're like, okay, he pops up, he's like, hey, are you guys the gods or whatever? Okay, so what are they doing? Like, maybe the wolf is getting one of the, dragging a person up, like a dead body to eat, or maybe one of the, she probably do an ox, so it's not like so. And then, but she got shot, so like maybe the wolves come up and are like licking her wounds, and it's like, okay, yeah. And Miyazaki, I imagine takes a long drag from his cigarette, and he goes, she comes up and sucks the blood out and spits it out. And then there's a moment where where he tries to get their attention, and she just has a mouthful of blood, and then she turns at him and spits it out, and then wipes it across her whole forearm, which then is doused in blood, and goes, get the fuck out of my sight before I murder you.
I can see that.
And then that's such an intentional moment.
No, totally. That's powerful stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, I'll try to. I know we've already been going for like an hour and a half, so I'll try to go a little faster. So
we get to the village.
To get to the village, we mouthful of blood sounds hot.
Oh
my God.
Wow!
Damn, Parallax.
We listen and we don't judge.
We listen and we don't judge.
I support this.
I'm starting to put together a profile of the things that you like, Parallax, and right now I'm just seeing Midna from Twilight Princess with a mouthful of blood stepping on you. Nah, I ain't about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's...
No, I think that was there before you said that. Don't talk about my queen. That's a good one. Okay.
I know.
I'm weak.
So at that point, the wolves leave, and he hears screaming, and he goes back to the people that he pulled out of the water, and then there's one guy basically unconscious, and the other guy is like, "What?" And he's screaming because he sees basically a Korak from Zelda, and I totally meant to go to Zelda for this particular segue. Just a little man.
It looks like a sand dollar.
Just a silly little guy with a face that's a sand dollar. And they're doing little clicky head movements. And the guy is freaking out. He's like, "Oh my God, it's a forest spirit. We're doomed."
Yeah.
And Ashitaka's like, "No, it's literally..." Oh, and I love what he says. He says, "If Yakul's not afraid, then we have nothing to worry about." Because his deer is like, chill. There's one sitting on him.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, these must be like the..." He's like, "This must be the Kodama. This forest must be where they live. Like, they're good luck." And then the guy's like, "But they'll lead their lord and master right to us." And then more starts showing up, and he's like, "Oh my God, there's thousands of them."
He's freaking out.
Reinforcements, we're doomed.
He's very fatalistic.
Yeah. So Ashitaka kind of nurses them back to health, takes them through this magic mystical forest. Has a bit of a moment where he sees what appears to be a giant deer with 1,000,000 antlers, and then his arm starts freaking out, and he's like, "Ah!" I just wanted to do that to see what it would look like.
That's fair.
And he puts his arm in this like mystic water or whatever, and it calms down.
That's fun.
And then a long time ago,
oh, sorry,
I bought a handful of... No, continue. I bought a handful of Glow in the Dark Forest Spirit. That's so cool. I love that. I used to have a shirt. I think I might have given it to you. That's just like a little Kodama Forest Spirit.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, so they go through the forest, they come out, and then there's this big town that Koroku, the guy who was freaking out, was saying like, "Oh, we make iron here from the ore in the sand."
And what's that town called?
Well, you'll never guess what it's called. It's the most creative name I've ever heard of for an iron town. It's actually called Iron Town. And so he brings the people back, and Kuroku and the one rifleman, and they're like, Lady Boshi's like right hand guy is like, "Hold the fuck on. Like, you got here almost as fast as we did, and with 2 injured men, and you got through this forbidden forest. Like, something doesn't smell right."
Like, they're all afraid of the forest, basically.
Yeah.
So it's truly a miracle that Ashitaka's not dead.
Right.
To them.
And so, of course, he's deeply mistrusting. Lady Boshi comes out and is like, "Hey, traveler, like, thanks for bringing these guys home, and yada yada yada. Come by my place later, if you know what I mean."
Yeah.
And he does, and he's like, she tells him a little bit more about what they're doing there, and he's like, she's like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, "I've come to see with eyes unclouded by hate." And she like laughs at him.
Yeah.
And in that moment, and I always wonder what significance of this is. But in that moment, she stops what she's doing. She gets up and says, Gonza, take over for me. Come on, kid. She literally says, I'll show you all my secrets.
Yeah.
And why do you think she says that in that moment? Is it like she sees how earnest he is? Like almost impossibly earnest in this world of greed?
Maybe that's it. Maybe she's bemused. She seems to talk at that point in the movie. She really seems to talk to him and treat him like a pet.
Ooh.
Like somebody that she's indulging because she's like, oh, this is like not something I get every day. You're kind of an oddity, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay, why not? I'll play your little games. Like, she doesn't seem to take him serious at all. Because I'm like, if you took him very seriously and you thought he was a threat, I doubt you'd show him everything. I don't know. It is a funny thing that she laughs. I do think maybe he's not, in her eyes, he's naive, and so that makes her smile.
And at this point, she knows that he's cursed.
Yeah,
he shows her the ball. He's like, you know what this is, right? And she's like, yeah,
I should probably be the one cursed.
Yeah, I like that moment too, where she says, I truly am sorry that you're cursed. I'm the one he should have put a curse on, not you. But still, I'm not gonna stop
destroying the forest. So we find out through this that she's destroying the forest
to get the iron ore.
To get the iron ore, which is actually making her and her villagers, have quite a name for themselves. Having so much iron to trade, they're doing really well. And I think it's attracting the negative attention of the emperor.
Yes.
And
a woman in power?
Not only a woman in power, she also, we find out through this time, employs a lot of people who are marginalized in the outside world, because they're on kind of an island in Irontown, surrounded by big wooden logs, no doubt taken from the forest. And Lady Eboshi's really out here deforesting stuff, but she cares so much about people. So a lot of the women that work in the village, she bought their contracts from brothels. Yeah. So she really empowers sex workers and gives them the ability to do something else if they want to. They all seem really happy. She even employs lepers. Yeah. And gives them a safe space to live. And she takes Ashitaka to the room where the lepers are, and they're making her secret guns.
Garden.
Right.
And she says none of the other townsfolk dare to come here. And she's just showing him everything.
But she does, and they love her for that, and they're loyal to her for that, and they try to intercede on her behalf when they see Ashitaka getting mad, because she is rather blasé about the pain that she causes the animals in the forest and the forest spirit. That, and here is where I think I'll put my criticism of her. I feel like it is, I don't know the exact era this movie is set in. I'm assuming it's the Warring States, at the end of the Warring States era. Yeah. Because it just feels very land grabby throughout the movie. The Emperor is trying to really take over Irontown, but maybe that's a common theme in any era. But with Lady Eboshi specifically, I feel like I want to support her. Excuse me. But there's times where I feel like she does her best to get ahead and find liberation by acting out some of the worst parts of what a toxic man would do. Not all of it. She definitely is very caring, but I think in her mind, to me, sometimes I look at her and I see second wave feminism, which says the way for me to be liberated and free myself is to take just whatever I want and be specifically a toxic masculinity. Man, well, the men around me have power because they take land and they take resources and they fight, and they, not that anybody of any gender can do these things, but with Lady Eboshi specifically, and I don't think it's necessarily her fault, the ways in which somebody fights patriarchy when they're suffering under it, I'm not trying to judge that, but it does irritate the shit out of me because it feels I don't think this is what Miyazaki was trying to say, but I see in Lady Eboshi, in her mind, well, I'm just trying to help people. I'm trying to help these, marginalized people here and these people with health issues here, and I've got the Emperor breathing down my neck, and, I have to defend this town, and I'm working my ass off to make sure everyone has what they need. I don't really care about a forest spirit. All of you animals can actually leave. I don't fuck. seem so blasé about their pain,
like,
and
you're
that
just
makes
in
me
my way.
mad. You're in my way. And if we're going to compete with any of the other towns around, like, I don't have time for this. Like, and that's where I say, I'm like, this feels like if this was a 21st century version of Lady Eboshi, like, in her mind, I think the way she thinks is to get ahead is to beat men at their own game.
Yeah.
But it then sometimes ends up translating to like, okay, you're trying to get the same power you see male leaders have around you and that same respect by doing the things that you don't really like when they're done to you.
Yeah. And it seems a bit of, and I'm just doing this because I can.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. And I'm like, I kind of understand it because in my own journey of like embracing, I call myself a womanist because I think womanism really encapsulates like finding liberation as a woman, but not finding that liberation through feeling like you have to behave like the person that currently has more privilege than you right now. Like,
because then you're still just playing into the same
toxic system, only you want to be leader of the mountain now. So it's not like you're trying to deconstruct this system of injustice. You're just trying to say, well, I want to be on top now.
I'm gonna do the exact same things, but it's okay because I'm a woman.
And yes.
And by doing so, I'm still going to cause, like, this is still going to cause harm to other people. Like, just because you got harmed doesn't mean
that you can harm other people.
Oh God,
other sentient beings. I know that the animals aren't people, but that doesn't mean they're not valid. Right? Okay.
I know people like this.
So that being said, I do, to bring grace to it, I really respect Lady Eboshi because I know that she is fighting an impossible battle. This is what the 1500s. These men are not, the only thing they see these women as are sex toys or mothers.
And that's evident. Like, there's dialogue about that when he goes to talk to the men, and he's like, learns that she's like, yeah, she goes around buying up all these contracts for brothel girls, and then like the one dude's like, yeah, women like that working here, it's a disgrace. And it's like, what?
And they still shame them, and it's ridiculous.
And Ashitaka comes to knowing that, as sheltered as he is, he's like, well, they say happy women make a happy village. And they're like, oh, happy women like that working here, it's a disgrace. Like, he's like, he sees the good that she's doing and calls her out for the bad that she's doing. Yeah. Like, he's so aware.
And balanced. Because he can see through eyes unclouded by hate.
Exactly.
I know that, like, the themes that come up in this movie are, like, two sides feeling hate. But I just, the more times I watch this, the more I'm just like, I'm really struggling to see this, like, as equal here, because the humans are like, like when we have, okay, so we should probably keep moving through, but there's a scene that's coming up as we're talking that kind of calls to that. So we're in the room with the lepers now, and she's showing him how they're making her guns to fight the wolves. They're making guns for the women. So she's empowering women by hurting another marginalized group. And so that's why I said second wave feminism.
Right, the animals.
Because it is amazing that you are getting these weapons custom made so that they'll be easier for someone like a woman to carry. She's like, oh, these might be too heavy for my girl. She has faith in them. She believes in their power and agency. That's so great. Now
But it's not just...
There's no intersectionality for Lady Eboshi, I don't feel like.
I think a little bit, because it's not just to kill the forest. I mean, she's killing the forest to get resources to continue what she's doing, but she's also arming the women because she knows that they're under constant attack by the emperor, or it's some lord, some feudal lord.
He wants the land and the forest.
Lord Asano, I think his name is, and so she's like, well, we have to, they do have to protect themselves.
Yeah. But it's not just that scene. It's just in general.
But there's layers to all of it, which I love. Like, everyone is so nuanced, and I love the scene with the lepers where there's a, like, he starts to get pissed off, and you can see like his arm is like goes to grab his sword, and she's like, does that right hand of yours wish to kill me, Ashitaka? And he's like, if it would lift the curse, I'd let it tear you apart, but even that wouldn't stop the killing. And the one, there's a leper in the corner who like is basically nothing left, and somebody says like, oh, you know, Osa has something to say, and this random character who you never see again has one of the most impactful, maybe monologue you could call it, of the whole movie. And he says like, basically like, he's like, look at us, like we're lepers, we are literally rotting away, and Lady Eboshi, like in her kindness, like wrapped us up and showed us love and gave us work. And he's like, we're cursed too. Like he finds a way to like level or like relate to Ashitaka in a way. They're like, we're cursed too. Like our bodies are also falling apart and failing us. And he says something like, I know what rage and hate and pain feels like. And every day you just have to find ways to keep living. And something that I noticed this time, this is one of the things that I noticed this time we watched it, was, so he's completely covered in bandages. You can't see a lick of skin on him.
He's on some Onigumo shit.
Totally Onigumo.
And if you remember Inuyasha, you remember who that is. Who that becomes.
The real ones now. Excuse me. The real ones now.
Real ones now. Onigumo.
But he has like, obviously like dark, like, it looks like shadows like of the divots of like where his eyes are under the bandages. And it seemed to me anyway that like they started to get a little bit bigger as he's talking. And I think it's supposed to, maybe it's the lighting, I don't know, but it looks like he's crying. Like it looks like as like he's,
the bandages are getting wet.
Their bandages are getting wet, and that's why the shadow's getting darker. Whoa. I don't know if that's true. I'd have to like watch the scene again, but I just found that scene even more compelling this time, because here is somebody who has like very little use of his own body, and he's like, I know what you're going through, kid, like, but don't take it out on Lady Eboshi. Like, look at all the good that she is doing. And I, in a way, I think he's right, because Ashitaka is like, yeah, if this will lift the curse, I'll kill you right here. But I think Osa, I don't forget his name is Osa or Gosa or something. It's hard to hear, but I think what he's saying is, almost like maybe he is trying to like defend the deforestation and stuff a little bit, because it's almost like, but she's keeping all of us alive. So if you stop her, what she's doing, then we're all gonna die. So
we would rather these group of sentient beings suffer because we're still okay. But if you stop the suffering for them, then we also suffer. Now, like, it seems to me, in their perspective, they're thinking like, well, this seems like the better situation, right? Because we're okay because of Lady Eboshi. I mean, yeah, Lady Eboshi is hurting other people. I need to stop saying people. We've been watching so much Star Wars. I keep trying to say sentient beings. And I, Wicked with the animal plight. I'm like, sentient beings.
Yeah.
I just hear the same refrain of like, yeah, this leader may not be perfect, but they're doing things that help me. So I think you should, and I don't know if they were saying like curb any accountability or just don't kill her, because I know there's a big space between accountability and murder. I get that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very interesting to think about how and I've been there in my life too. I've had people do wonderful things for me, but then I've seen them cause harm to other people. And I felt in my own brain this like dissonance of like not wanting to say anything to them about it or not wanting to criticize them about it because they were doing so much for me, that I was like, well, I know they're not all bad. And like, maybe there's like, and then from that thinking, I think can sometimes be born a tiny scary thought. I don't want to say scary, I don't want to put morality, but like a thought that's like, well, if they're doing this for me and they made my life so much better, and everyone I live with loves what they're doing. Maybe they're hurting that other group of people because that other group of people deserves it. I mean, they are boars after all, and all they do is destroy, and it's not like they think or have families, and like, maybe I'm reaching.
They're not going
but like,
that far because they're not encouraging.
No, but it's just interesting that I don't hear anyone in the movie in the Irontown village being like, Lady Eboshi, like, these are the spirits. Like, we shouldn't be cutting down their homes. You know what I mean? Isn't there something else I don't hear anybody pushing back against her and being like, can't we be more mindful at least when we're crashing? Like, nobody's even... I don't think anybody needs to yell at her, but, like, it's only Ashitaka who's like, can we maybe not keep hurting the animals in the forest? Can we just... No? Okay. All right. Everyone else is like, come... Like, the two women that yell at San, and we're getting... we should... that scene. I won't mention it, but actually, I won't keep. I'm not gonna say anything.
Okay.
Until we move forward.
You want to move on?
Yes.
Okay.
There's a lot to
unpack and to talk about in just that scene alone. But I'm hearing you, and I'm thinking about it in ways that I never have before. Mm-hmm. But I think it's this scene, like, to wrap up, I think it's this scene that really starts to put the idea in Ashitaka's head, like, oh, I shouldn't just stop them from doing what they're doing because they'll all die. I also shouldn't help the forest kill everyone here. That's why he says, like, he's like, no, everyone's like, what side are you on? Pick a side. Are you with us or are you with them? The whole movie.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, what I want is for the humans in the forest to live in peace. Like, maybe there's not a way to do that. You know, we don't, you know, and that's getting towards the end of the movie. But I think it's this scene of seeing the humanity that's there of like, yeah, they're causing a lot of harm. But what's up, Keaton?
Hi.
We're talking Princess Mononoke. It is the 40th anniversary of Studio Ghibli, so we're deep diving into this movie. How's your night going? I'm like, okay. Anyway, so Princess Mononoke. It's my favorite movie, so bear with me as we're nerding the F out. So so he goes and he talks to the men, he talks to the women, he like goes and he does the boiler.
Is that after the lepers?
I think so.
When does we hear the alarms go off? There's an alarm in the city, in the town, to alert us to San showing up.
You should do Nausicaa next. Yes!
Oh, that would be amazing. That one changed my world.
I love that movie. And then like you said, when we watched that the first time, she was like, that movie changed my life. And I laughed and she was like, no, I think I really do mean that.
Yeah.
I really do mean that.
I thought I didn't have any more Ghibli transformations in me, but that one took me to a new world.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love that one. That one is always way, way, way too low on people's lists, to the point where I'm like, did you actually watch it? Did you really watch it? Did you watch it recently? Oh God, I love that one.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think he goes to see the women after Lady Eboshi, right?
Maybe. Yeah.
Anyway, it's at some point the alarms start going off. The people are like, "Oh shit!
Intruder alert.
The wolves are back."
Yeah.
And San has broken in to the
right.
the Irontown. Most people think that Ghibli is all Totoro and cute dragon.
I know.
But so much more than that. Yeah, I know.
Totally.
Oh my God, there's so many gems. So then they're like, well, okay.
Oh yeah, the wolf girl is named San. If you've all probably seen it. I don't know if we mentioned it. The last time we mentioned San was a girl drinking blood. Did we say her
Maybe
name?
We didn't say her name. Yeah, so that's San. Princess Mononoke. That's they Lady Eboshi drops the title of the movie. Roll credits.
That's what the humans call her.
Yeah, Princess Mononoke, and he's like, what? She's like, Princess of ghouls, beasts, and whatever. And it's like, ghouls? What? Beasts? Sure. I mean, she's like kind of a furry. She thinks she's a wolf.
Yeah.
but Princess of Beasts or Princess of Ghouls. I'm like,
so I'm like, we do
now you're
supernatural.
I was just gonna say it feels like a fear tactic.
Yeah, they sensationalize her a lot.
Yeah.
So she's right around the village. She's here to kill Lady Eboshi.
Yeah.
They have been fighting each other for God knows how long.
Hey, speaking of furries, just packing for a furry con this weekend.
Oh, fun!
Which one are you going to?
Yeah.
Because I know it's not Anthrocon.
I haven't heard that name in a while.
That's the one in Pittsburgh that I always end up at because it's always 4th of July weekend, and I have family in Pittsburgh, and so I take the train all the way out there sometimes, and I'm like, and I get there because they always do. My family always does a thing on the 4th of July. And I usually get there, and then all of a sudden there'll just be furries running around the city of Pittsburgh. I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Also, it's in July.
That's very hot. I don't know how y'all stay cool, but it's very impressive.
Are there any furry cons in the winter? Why don't they do that? Like this, isn't that so hot? Do you do the full suit? I'm asking you a lot of questions that you don't have to answer. Yeah, so San is there. She's like, I'm going to kill Lady Eboshi. And then Lady Eboshi's like, I'm going to kill San.
And all the villagers are yelling at San
Yeah.
about how she, is the reason that their loved ones are dead and how her wolves, like, murdered a husband and the wives. That's what I mean, calling back to, like, this energy of, like, nobody in Irontown seems to really acknowledge, like, hey, they were here first. Like, we came here and burned all their crops and shot their animals, and, like, I just don't get that, like, willingness to look at things from the animals and the spirits' perspective. There just doesn't seem to be that reverence for them. It's just like, yeah, you and you witch, you made sure my husband died. I'm like, so are we not taking any responsibility here? Like,
yeah,
it's all their fault and none of yours? Please.
No, they have fans in their heads and moisture wicking gear.
Oh, that's smart.
You have them year round. MFF is Chicago. Oh, Chicago in December. That's cold. Chicago in December is a great time to have a furry con.
For real.
Headed to Furry Weekend Atlanta.
Fun.
Wow. Oh, we went to Atlanta last year.
Ooh.
Go to the aquarium if you haven't.
Yeah.
If you've never gone there, you have to go.
They're the only one in the country that has oh my god.
Whale sharks.
Whale sharks, yeah.
Amazing.
Made by Home Depot. The tank is the biggest tank in the United States in terms of aquariums. It's very impressive. Home Depot was a sponsor.
We have. I have to.
Did you know Home Depot?
Yeah, I know. They say it everywhere. I have to say this quick aside. Wait, let me just finish. We have a huge video game and over 600 board games. Holy crap! Stop by. I don't know. Atlanta is a bit of a hike, but we're having a special event there. Furry Takeover.
Oh wow!
Oh, you went last year. Awesome. So, oh my god, it was incredible.
Amazing.
I literally saw the whales. So sharks are my favorite animal.
And whales are my favorite animal.
So together, our favorite animal is a whale shark. What was I gonna say? Oh, I will say I don't, as an identifier kind of thing. Like I don't identify like as a furry. I have seen a lot of furry stuff that has made me feel a lot of types of ways. So I feel like I'm like pretty close to the edge there. But if I were to have a fursona, I would probably be a shark. I don't know if that's a thing. Is that a scale sona?
Finsona.
Finsona. Cool synergy.
Nice. Yeah, I think so too.
So I just found out there's the mascot of the not San Diego. What am I saying? Atlanta Aquarium is a little orange fish named Depot, like Deepo. And the reason they did that is because there's a little movie that they made, like a little promotional movie, where a character at the end of it asks him, "Oh, is that your home, Depot?"
Did you know that Home Depot donated $1 million to build the whale shark tank exclusively at the Atlanta aquarium?
Oh,
Home Depot did that.
God.
Just in case you weren't, versed on that, Home Depot.
They named this character for a pun.
It's literally so embarrassing.
For their sponsor.
Now I don't like say it twice and no more. They everywhere we went, it was it actually made me laugh really hard.
Yeah.
It was like a almost like a comedy skit. Mm-hmm. Like they did it so much it felt like a spoof.
You know what it was? It was Spaceballs the flamethrower,
Yeah.
Spaceballs the toilet paper.
Yes.
It was that. It was
Spaceballs
that.
the toilet seat.
Home Depot the aquarium. Home Depot the fish.
Like just slapping a Home Depot did this. Like every time we came, like we would walk around the whole museum and there'd be signs about like, make sure you check out the wall shark tank, donated and funded by Home Depot. I'm like, so what did the contract say? Mention it 15 times per like square inch of the aquarium. It was so funny. Look out for the Home Depot signs. Make it a game. You know what I mean? If you go, make it a game and like, I don't know, bring a flask. Like
Right. Take a shot every time you see a Home Depot logo and you'll be dead in 5 minutes.
You will. It was so funny. Oh, scaly. Okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, it is a scaly. Okay. Sharks generally get lumped into the overall Fursona category. Think of that evil shark from Ninja Turtles. Oh my god.
Sharksona.
Yeah.
Sharksona.
I'm thinking like street sharks. You know, that's probably what it would be. I am trying to think of like a mascot, maybe like for the emotes for the experience point. And I would love to have like some kind of little mascot, and maybe it's a shark. Mm-hmm. Maybe I either want to go like a ninja direction or like a shark direction.
Shark ninja.
And I thought Shark Ninja would be perfect, but then how is he gonna have sharp teeth if he has his face hidden by a mask?
Maybe he has shark teeth on the mask.
Oh my god. Like a baby Bowser thing where he has like the teeth on his little neckerchief.
That could be so cute.
But anyway.
So to the plot, we're at the part where San is fighting Lady Eboshi, and the villagers are just yelling at San about how she's awful and this and that and the third.
They're like, kill her, skin her.
Yeah. I'm just like...
Because they have been brainwashed by this propaganda.
Yeah.
That she is like an evil ghoul.
Because she doesn't support them blowing holes in her like friends and family in her home.
Yeah.
And burning her home down to clear land for their crops.
Right.
Did anybody even give an offering? Like, did y'all go into the woods and go, hey, is it okay if we... None of that.
Yeah.
So what do you think? They're going to, like, it's just so... Yeah, so that happens, and then Ashitaka kind of stops them from killing each other, basically, and tries to take San out of the village. Like, he knocks her out.
Yeah.
Because she just...
He knocks both of them out. He
does. Because they're not listening. Like, he's trying. He's like, please don't fight. Please don't fight. And they're like, get out of my way.
Yeah.
Like, they're...
And you see the scar, like the mark just growing bigger. Like as I love the shot where he's gripping his sword and you see it start to come up out of his like vambrace. Yeah. And start to go up his thumb a little bit. Oh,
I love it. That reminds me of the point that I started with of just like, and it's so obvious again, but it didn't click for me until this time around. Like every time they are like fighting, literally their animosity is a physical poison that's making it strong. Like, I'm like, damn, to watch it, the more they fight, it's like, And
the wise woman said, like, it'll cause you great pain and then kill you.
I thought she just meant physical.
Really,
just like hatred really does cause you pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he walks out with he gives Lady Eboshi to them after knocking them both out. Women, am I right? Okay, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But seriously. Oh no, I'm kidding. What was that face?
But seriously, I hate women.
Help. You see how he's got a mic? Just needs a podcast.
Anyway, I'm a high value man.
Help.
And I don't need you coming in here with your DEI. Anyway,
help.
That was probably way too loud in everybody's ears.
No.
I apologize.
So yeah, he carries San out because the wolves are waiting outside for her, and
not before he gets a hole blown in him.
Oh right, one of the women of the village shoots him while he tries to walk away with her. Mm-hmm. He's bleeding, but he's still able to walk, and then he opens the like gate after they try to close it, and he opens it with one hand.
And they're like,
leaves.
don't be a fool. This takes 10 men to open this.
And he's
he
like,
pushes it with his cursed energy hand. And it's just, and he's just absolutely
Ball tap.
hemorrhaging blood. Ball tap. He's just like the pool of blood around him.
She's just up here.
And they're like, they're trying to stop him because they're like, we don't want to hurt you. You saved a bunch of our people. And he's like, no, I'm taking this girl.
But after he does get out, nobody stops him.
Yeah.
I figure they're all just in shock. They're like, what the hell are we going to do if he opened that gate with one hand?
Right. And he bends a dude's sword with his hand. Yeah.
So then he goes with them.
But I think it's important to note there, and this is the only time that this happens, when there's other parts where the mark starts to grow, but in this part where he is actively fighting and the hatred is growing, you start to see a bit of these like ghostly tentacle looking things.
Oh, that's right.
That were coming off of the boar.
Right.
And so it's feeding off of it, and you see like he's holding San's hand, and they're
like
snapping.
clawing at his wrist.
They're like kind of in her face, and she's like, like, oh my god.
Yeah.
So, and he's like, look, everyone, this is what hatred looks like. It will, it's eating me alive.
Yeah.
And that's what very soon it'll kill me. Like, it's
he's there to be a physical manifestation of what's happening verbally.
Of their hatred, yeah.
Wow.
I loved Mononoke as a teen. Oh, same. Yeah. I saw it probably way earlier than I probably should have, but
he was so young.
It was formative. It was so formative for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, he leaves.
And he kind of passes out.
Yeah.
As soon as he leaves, because like he's
the blood loss. He's
not dead. I'm assuming because of this curse. Like it seems like the curse is selfish for his death. Like, as in, like they're like you are gonna die from this hate, not anything before this. That's what I'm telling myself for why he didn't. Well, he did get really wounded, but though, how was he able to? Anyway. So he passes out. The wolves are gonna try to eat him, and San is like, "No, what?
He's mine."
Yeah, she's like, "He's mine. Like, don't do that." So then she takes him to. What do you even call this place? It's like a little oasis in the middle of the woods.
Yeah, the same place where he saw the deer with the freaking things, and his arm started freaking out.
Yeah, he's just
the same little pool of water. And she takes him to this little island and
does a little ritual.
Does some kind of little ritual, and then she takes Yakul's like saddle and little
harness
and off of him. And she's like, "You're free now. You can go and do whatever you want." And he stays there with Ashitaka.
And he talks to San and tells her about their journey and Ashitaka and he kind of, it sounds like Yakul like vouches for him because Ashitaka's like passed out. We don't really know if he's gonna live or die at this point. But like you said, she did a little ritual. The antler deer thingy came out. The antler thing.
Yeah. Which then
at this point we kind of, it feels though as it's very implied that this is the great spirit of the forest.
Yeah.
TM. This is like, it's not said explicitly, but
honcho.
this is what it's giving. It's like a big, he looks like a big, are male deer, or are they elks? Is it like
buck?
A
male deer is a buck.
A big ass buck.
$1.50.
With like roots, like his horns, like, from earlier, like you were saying.
Yeah.
He comes out and gives, I think he like kisses Ashitaka on the forehead, or
it's on the
or kisses the little branch that San left.
She leaves like a branch and he breathes on it and it dies, and then he, like, I guess he's underwater at this point. So then the forest spirit puts his head under the water, and you can see Ashitaka's wound like bleeding out into the water, and he kisses her, like nibbles at the wound, which stops bleeding. Bleeding. Yes, I said breathing. And then it cuts to, I guess, like the next morning, and he wakes up and he notices, he's like, "What?
Oh, not bleeding."
The bullet wound's gone, but the curse mark on his hand is still there.
Right. Which can feel kind of disappointing until you remember, like, this, it wouldn't really make sense if it disappeared anyway. Like, I'm sure that, I think if this curse is born from the hatred between these two, then the hatred should be dispelled before it's free. Otherwise, the rest of the movie wouldn't make any sense to me. Because when I first saw it, I was like, why wouldn't the spirit just heal it? Can't he? Doesn't he have that power? But, I mean, it wouldn't make sense. For Ashitaka's curse is tied to the animosity between the Iron Town and the forest.
Yes.
So, it's not... In that moment,
it's
I
not
realized
just
it's not about you not having the curse anymore. Actually, none of this is about Ashitaka at all. Like, this is about... He's a vessel. Hi. I love you. He's a vessel. Oh, I'm realizing this aloud with you as we're talking it through. Like, yeah, it was never really... Even if he wanted to be healed, it was never really about him being healed.
Yeah, and it's not just between... The animosity between San and Lady Eboshi. I mean, they're like... two of the main figureheads, but it's literally humanity versus nature.
Yeah,
he's caught between it.
And so why would he be healed at this point yet? Is the relationship between these two beings even close to being healed? No.
There's more that needs to be done. Oh my god.
And so he cannot be healed because it's not just individual, which ties back also into like groupthink. Yeah. I think that also relates to like cultures outside of the West. Like there's such a sense of community that like, and even San's mother, the wolf mother, tells Ashitaka that later on. She's like, because he's like, let her go. Like if you can't keep her here to die with the force with you. And he's like, she says, you think selfish. Like a human. You're selfish just like humans. You don't understand that we're all connected. Especially San. If the forest dies, my daughter San dies with it. Like, and he's thinking, well, she's a human. She's not like you guys. But like, even the wolves are like, all of us are connected. And we all are. Humanity and nature are connected. When that's forgotten, things like deforestation, fossil fuel, climate change happen, right? And I feel like that's a big theme of this. Like, Lady Eboshi is just thinking, I need resources so that my town is able to survive and thrive and compete with the warlords and the lords roaming the lands of today. She's not thinking, hey, me doing this could make it harder for people to breathe later on in the future.
Right, no.
Because I'm cutting down all these trees.
There is a big aspect of greed there, of course, because it's human nature.
Yeah.
It's always more. But there is also an aspect of survival to it. And like, where you get to a point where you like, how do you turn back? Like, what's sustainable at this point? Because if we stop doing what we're doing, we're all going to die. And it's about a pivot more. She needs to see that there is an area where they could make it work, but I think both sides are really blinded. I mean, granted, one side objectively has intruded and overtaken.
Yeah.
But they both are like, neither of them are seemingly wanting to. They have to want to work together, and and Ashitaka needs to convince both sides that is the only way. The future isn't kill all the humans. The future isn't burn the whole forest down to make all the humans rich. It's something in between, and they haven't solved that yet, so he still has the curse.
But the movie centers the question even to the end, don't they? Like you mentioned it earlier as well. You were like, maybe there's not a way. We don't, but the point is in the pondering and the asking of the question, maybe, as opposed to finishing the movie with a definitive answer.
Yeah.
Like, this is how you might do it. Though.
Oh my God, I have something to respond to that with, but when we get to the very, very end.
Okay.
You sparked something in me.
So at this point, Ashitaka is, waking up. San has nursed him and chilled with him in Yakult at this nice little oasis.
And baby birded him with some...
Yeah.
Is that bark or is that like beef jerky?
It might be some kind of dried meat, which also clues me into like humans dry meat. Like, not to shade animals, but like animals are not putting stuff in salt, at least that I know of, to preserve it. That looked like jerky that she fed him. She tried to feed Ashitaka. He was too weak to chew. So she like baby birded him. Yeah, she ate that and spit in his mouth. I was like, girl, you put blood in that mouth.
Oh God, I didn't even think about that.
But I digress. Okay, there was blood in that mouth.
Did she brush her teeth in between the blood and this?
Questionable.
Who knows?
Questionable. But that's her life. So then,
what if that was human meat?
Oh shit, that'd be fucked up. Fucked up.
Get it.
So Akoto, And the boars show up.
Yeah.
And they're like, obviously everybody's pissed. Everybody in the forest, everybody senses it. All the animals are just like, this is some shit. Like, the humans are gathering and closing in. San's wolf mother shows up with some of the other wolves, and it becomes this impromptu little meeting. And they're and they're like, and why is this human here? And you first your daughter, and now this other human. And Ashitaka is telling Akoto and the other boars,
who's like Akoto's the leader of the boars. He's this big ass white boar. He's blind,
milky eyes,
he's a million years old.
He's mad old.
Yeah, voiced by Keith David. Oh.
So Ashitaka's just like trying to tell them what happened to Nago because they're very mad about Nago dying, and they're like, they think that the wolves ate them. There's animosity between the boars and the wolves too. Not helped by the fact that the wolves adopted a human child, San. So people don't really trust, at least the boars don't really trust any of the wolves in any way. But,
and Moro says like she's neither human nor wolf, which I think is a really interesting take. Like, she's not trying to be like, yeah,
Moro
she's
is the mom.
Yeah.
Right, Moro.
She's like, she's
fully a wolf.
You almost expect her to be like, this is my wolf child, my wolf daughter that eats raw meat. She's like, she's neither.
I thought that was a very balanced way to view her. Interracial adoptees should take note. And I don't mean that like that sounds so bad if you don't think about it right away. Like, I'm saying like having a different race is a different species. I don't mean like that. But I mean there's something really beautiful about the way that Moro, as San's adopted wolf mother, still sees her. Like, you can include somebody and not erase their difference. Yeah. So that's what made me think, because I have a lot of transracial adoptee friends, and I think, I mean, this is more than race. Obviously, she's a wolf, she's a human, but I think the same core of that applies when you're trying to raise somebody that's different from you, or your adoption in general. Like, it could be really easy to go, nope, they're 100% like me because I'm their mother and I raised, like, it's doing a disservice to somebody to say the easiest way for me to love you is to pretend that you're not different from me. Because there's nothing wrong with being different. Oh my God, yeah. Like, you can love somebody and affirm their difference. And in her saying, like, she's not wolf or human,
she's neither and both.
Yeah, she is neither and both. And so I think after that, what happens after that? The impromptu meeting of the animals. They're like,
you guys killed, the boars are like, you killed Nago, and Ashitaka's like, no, you fucking idiots, I did, because he turned into a demon and attacked my village, and I got this mark. And then Akoto comes over and he smells Ashitaka's hand, and he's like, yep, I believe you. He's like, I believe you and I thank you for it. And he's basically like, we are going to have one last stand against the humans to try to take the forest back. We're probably all going to die.
Or worse, he even mentions, like, or we'll just become stupid. And he said it's already happening, which makes me think of Wicked.
I know. It's like, look at my tribe. We're gross, weak and stupid. And soon we'll just be hunting game for their meat. And he's like, even if every one of us dies, this will be a battle the humans will never forget.
It's powerful.
And it's like, whoa, it's powerful, but it's also like, what a difficult spot for him to be in as like the last like boar with like, and Moro even says it, like the last boar who will listen to reason. Like the rest of them are kind of just one note follower. They're angry. They have right to be angry, but they're not thinking logically about it.
They're just kind of reacting.
And the only thing that Akoto can do with this gigantic tribe that he's amassed is to have them fight.
Yeah.
And he's like, we'll take it back. We'll take the forest back, or we'll all die trying.
Now, meanwhile, now this is the point where it's hard for me to track scenes because a lot overlaps each other. All of this is happening. You have Jigo, right? Jigo, and he has a group of men who dress just like him, who it's revealed at this point have been hired by the daimyo, like the lord.
Lord Asano.
Lord Asano, who is fighting Lady Eboshi. Like, Lord Asano wants Irontown. He wants it bad. He wants the resources. He wants to invade it. He wants to conquer it. All that shit. Yeah. So that's Lady Eboshi's like fighting back against that. And he's hired Jigo and his men to decapitate and bring him the head of the forest spirit. Why
for
does
the Emperor.
For the Emperor. Why does the Emperor want the head of the Forest Spirit?
He thinks it'll make him live forever.
Yeah. Now, obviously, if you cut off the head of the Forest Spirit, eventually you are killing the Forest Spirit, which means you're killing the forest.
Yeah, there goes basically like
these humans aren't thinking, oh no, maybe we shouldn't do that because it could like kill the forest. They're like, we want it.
Yeah. Jigo basically enlists Lady Eboshi by force to be like, well, help me cut off the head of the Forest Spirit and then I'll help you fight off Lord Asano. So he's trying to play both sides. The Emperor will have
favorite. Yeah, he is so trying to play both sides, which is so fits.
And he's like, oh, I hear the Emperor's promised a hill of gold to anyone who can help him live forever. So he's like, I just want to be rich. I don't give a shit. So a lot of conflict going on there. Their forces are split. The men go with Lady Eboshi and Jigo's crew into the forest to try to kill the Great Forest Spirit, the big deer guy.
And some of Jigo's crew are wearing boar skins. We see that they have like covered themselves in the dead skins of the boars to try and mask their human scent
to sneak into the sacred forest.
Yeah, so they can hurt the animals, but more so be there to help Jigo, trap the Forest Spirit.
Yeah. So
shit is gearing up.
I know, it's wild.
Yeah.
So after a quick stop of not much of import, Ashitaka stops at Irontown and is like...
Oh, wait. Before that, doesn't he go back to... He sleeps... Like, he spends the night in the cave with Moro and San. And, like, San is sleeping and he goes out and talks with Moro. And that's when they have that conversation about she's not a wolf or human. Because the next day is the big battle.
Yeah.
So all of that is happening. And Moro is just like, you're dying. So, you should probably just get out of here and leave my daughter alone. If you come back here, I will kill you.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, well.
All right, well, time to go. So she's like, leave in the morning. Him and Ashitaka, oh my god, him and San are kind of like
a bit of a moment.
They're kind of cuddling up in that thing.
He calls
under
her pretty.
Some furs.
It's very cute.
And she. Here's a moment that I noticed, not this time, but the last time I watched it. So in the fight in Irontown, when San is fighting Lady Eboshi, she gets knocked out and he tries to wake San up, and he's like, wake up, and she slashes at his face with a knife. So he gets this cut under his eye and it cuts his hood a little bit, and he's got a hole in his tunic where he was shot through. When he wakes up the next day, I think I pointed this out to you. You can, if you look really closely, like she wrapped up like little bits of like food for him and his pack and stuff. So
she covered him in like furs so he'd stay warm at night. Because she already left with her mom by the time he wakes up. But she left him. She's
gone. And he comes out and his hood, he doesn't acknowledge it in the movie, but you can see his hood is sewn up. Like the slash that she cut, like it's a little notch. And she sews it up and there's a little patch on his tunic where he was shot. And it's like...
She sews that too.
These little moments... Like,
who taught you that?
Of appreciation. Yeah, right. Where'd you learn how to sew?
Aren't you the only person with thumbs in this forest?
Well, there's the monkeys, or the ape tribe, but I don't think they know how to sew.
Yeah.
Who were like, give us the man creature, we will eat him and gain his strength. And she's like, what the fuck?
That is such a big thing in Japanese lore. I don't know if it's the same thing in like Western folklore, but in like Japanese folklore stories that I've read, there's always this theme of like, if a warrior or a demon or some being wants to be stronger, they eat whatever is stronger than them. Yeah. And that also shows up in Little Nightmares Everywhere.
Oh my god, yeah.
Where
what a connection to make.
I won't explain. I don't want to spoil it. Yeah, I know that was such a jump, wasn't it?
Little Nightmares.
Play Little Nightmares. But yeah,
that's okay. We're already talking about like...
That's a great point, honey. Yeah, she sewed it.
Yeah.
What a sweet,
to
tender
show that
moment.
Little bit of connection. Like they have a connection. And even when it cuts to them later, Moro is saying to San, like, that boy wanted to share his life with you.
Yeah.
And
then he sends her a necklace. Like
he sends her
his necklace.
His sister's necklace.
She wears it.
She's like, I hate him. I hate all humans. Ooh, but this is pretty though.
I know, because he like sends it to her via one of the wolves, and right at that moment that she's telling her mom, like, I don't care if he wants to spend his life with me. Screw him. I don't need boys. Ooh, shiny, pretty.
I hate him. I hate all humans. Ooh, but like this is okay.
Okay, Ashitaka.
And then so at this point, all the sides are gearing up for like this final battle.
Yeah, we are flashing back from Jigo to the wolves to the
boars, like putting on their war paint and mud and stuff.
To the women at Irontown, because also while Lady Eboshi is in the woods with Jigo and stuff, that is when Lord Asano and his men attack Irontown because they figure, oh, she's out there with all the men.
Right.
But the women have stayed behind against
with the
their
guns
will with the guns.
She made them.
So they're holding it down pretty well.
Yeah.
But still, they need backup, and so Ashitaka, after he leaves the cave, with San, he goes back, and they're like, and he's like, oh, what's going on? And they're like, we're under attack, but we're kind of hanging in there, but we could really use Lady Eboshi. Do you know where she is? And he's like, fuck. He goes, so he's just kind of this part of the movie kind of reminds me of when you played RPG. And you're between, you know what I mean? Like you're between main events in the game that are part of the big plot, overarching plot TM. But to get to that plot, you have to do a bunch of side missions. And you're just like running all over the fucking map like... It's
the part in Near Replicant right before the time skip.
Yes. Yes. And you feel like you'll never get to do anything like actually significant other than like you just feel like you're running errands. That's kind of Ashitaka at this point. He's just like... He's running one place and they're like, go find so-and-so. And he's like, on foot? And then Yakult gets shot because he's running to Irontown through Lord Asano's men. And Lord Asano's men they're not waiting. They're not shooting after they ask questions, right? They're shooting first. You're moving. You don't look like them. They're shooting your ass. Mm-hmm. So they shoot Yakult. Yakult's back leg.
Yakult!
Is it Yakult?
That's a yogurt
brand. I keep calling him the Japanese yogurt. Yakult. So Japanese yogurt brand he gets fucked up. His yogurt gets shot. The yogurt's leaking out all over the place. So so Yakult and so they've told him at Irontown, they're like, go find Lady Eboshi, and he's like, oh my god. Okay, so he like...
I mean, I guess I should anyway, because I think she's trying to go kill the forest spirit.
Right. How does he
Only the force of life and death in this whole freaking country or
no
this area.
Care to life. No respect. That's another thing. Again, no foresight. It's just, like you said, maybe survival. Like, I need this. This will get the Emperor on our side, which will give us protection from local warlords so we can keep surviving. She's not stopping and being like, oh my god, I'm really destroying like a metaphysical entity of life itself.
But they don't really believe in that. Like, that's almost like...
Which confuses me too, because how are you killing something you don't believe in? It's right in front of you.
Well... You
don't see it walking on water like Jesus? Like, doesn't that scare you?
Maybe not don't believe in it, but I think...
They don't revere
what
it.
They're saying is, like, it's almost like a modern... Maybe this is... I don't know if this is the connection, but from what little I know, granted, about like Shintoism is like spirits are in everything. Anything can be a god. And a lot of people who like, if you don't believe that, then there's like this energy, this lack of
like
energy and power, like.
There's no respect. There's no reverence.
And a respect and reverence to it. That's a big...
Because Ashitaka's people had reverence.
A big part of it.
When Nago pulled up, their first thought was... Even everybody in his village is such a contrast to Irontown. And maybe that's their innovation.
Because it's industry. It's the next...
How is this going to make me money?
How is this... Civilization. That's how, So it's almost like... There's these...
So antithetical to Ashitaka's people's way.
Yeah. So they're like, oh, what, these big ass animals? Like, well, I just like burned it and shot it and it fell off of a cliff. So like,
that's the American way.
Yeah, I know. So she's like, it's not. So yeah, she's a god, but she's still like a living, bleeding. If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Never stopping.
So I think she's
should
just
we
like,
kill it?
Okay, so whatever you think, that you think this is some kind of great spirit. Like, I just see it as an animal.
And if you're going to pay me for this animal, then I'll do it.
Yeah.
It's never like, should I with her? With not just her, but with a lot of the people in general in this movie, sometimes their motivations are, I can, so why wouldn't I?
Right.
Because I am able to do this. I want to do this.
For the sake of progress, for the sake of... I mean, really,
protections, networking.
It is greed, even if some of it is well-founded.
It's still greed.
Him here listening, just bustling around.
Oh, yay!
No, hey, you bustle.
Yeah.
Hustle and bustle and do whatever you need to do. We just appreciate you being here.
Yeah. So we're at so Ashitaka's being sent back.
Yes, she's trying to
find
kill
her. She's trying to kill. He knows now that she's trying to kill the forest spirit. And so he tries to get out. He comes across some more or was it Lord Asano's men Lord Asano's men and also the men of Irontown? Or was it just the men of Irontown that he comes across?
He has like a little bit of a fight with some of the samurai and Lord Asano's men, but then he comes across like a mass grave of like
boars and
people and
everyone, really.
He finds some of the survivors, some of the men from Irontown, and they're like, they put us in the front lines. Jigo's men put us in the front lines. We saw everything. There's one guy, he's like, I saw everything. They put us in the front lines and didn't tell us about the bombs they were dropping in, like the old school, like basically gunpowder in a clay shell.
Yeah.
Old school mortar, or landmines under their feet, and the chaos, and it's just dead bodies everywhere. And so he says
subterfuge is coming out about Jigo. What we suspected earlier on is that he is indeed slimy and two-faced.
He says we've been burying our friends all day, and that line is like heartbreaking. So then Jigo's men are like, what are you doing here?
They find 2 wolves too.
Yes, under
the rocks and rubble and dead bodies everywhere.
Yeah, they lift a
boar.
They help him lift a boar off of one of the wolves, which then escorts Ashitaka into the
oasis in the forest.
Yeah.
'Cause he's like, I gotta stop and find Lady Eboshi. Maybe if I tell her the town is in trouble, she'll stop this stupid mission of trying to kill the god and help. But he finds her, and what happens?
Well, he finds her, and then they're fighting. The wolves are killing the people in the skins, and Lady Boshi and Jigo are trying to track down the forest spirit. And this is where Ashitaka has that line where he's like, he's riding on top of the wolf, and he's like, fine, son, keep going. And the wolf keeps going, and he stops, and he's like, Lady Boshi, Lord Asano's attacking Irontown. The women are in danger. They need you. And she's like, yeah, well, I'm going to go kill this thing so that we can then all go back. And he's like, no.
Just go back.
Stop.
Nothing's stopping her.
Stop.
She doesn't care.
I know. And she's like, well, we're already here. And she's like, oh, so you don't want me to kill the forest spirit. You want me to kill samurai instead. And he goes, no, what I want is for the humans in the forest to live in peace. And then he runs away. And
so again, he's on his missions.
Yeah. And so at this point, I think it cuts to... Is this where it cuts to Okoto all bloodied up? San's escorting him.
I think so, yeah. Because she's on
the pool.
Fighting with... She's trying to help them. Because... Yeah, so he's all bloodied up. Because he's... Oh, right. Because he was in the rampage, him and his warriors.
Yeah.
But they didn't expect the bombs or Jigo's men in the... they were deceived. It was during that battle just now that we just described. So he's like stumbling out of there all bloodied and covered in arrows, and he's just... He already was old, but like he's really looks like a walking corpse, unfortunately.
Blood just pouring out of his mouth.
And he's hanging in there, and San is trying to support him. Then he sees Jigo's men in the dead skins. They did not waste any time. Yeah. They got new dead skins. They're just carrying around these bodies of his warriors who were just murdered. And Akoto is delirious and bleeding out, and he's like, thinks those are his actual
He can't see either.
All right.
So he just smells them and is like, oh, my
warriors are back from the grave.
Come back from the dead. Oh, the forest spirit is with us.
And she's trying to tell him, like, no, those, I don't know what they are, but those are not.
You're just leading the humans to the forest spirit. Like, stop. And so he's blindly charging forward, smashing through rocks.
She's trying to stop him, but again, she's a human, and he's bigger than a average boar ever
She's
could
like
be.
The size of one of his tusks.
Yes. She's hanging on him. She's like, no, Lord. He's like, oh, I don't care. Fuck it.
Yeah. And then he starts getting the
black
worms.
Oozy worms, yeah.
Probably on account of all them worms.
Haven't eaten.
So he's in his rage and in his blindness, he's starting to turn into a demon like Nago did.
And San is terrified.
And she gets kind of swept up in it. And like literally like pulled into like his body of these weird tentacle things. And then...
But he gets to the oasis
right
like in the middle. And
then Moro is there too.
Yeah.
Her mom is there. And she's like... and then the other wolf who's there calls to the one that Ashitaka is with to guide him there.
Yeah.
I'm skipping some things because we've been going for a little while.
Yeah.
Oh my god! So we get there, and this is like right where Lady Eboshi is. Like they're like one pool over.
Yeah, everybody's come. I would say this is the climax.
Yeah.
Like everything comes down to this area. Everybody's in this one space where the forest god is known to frequent.
Yeah.
It's very sacred.
Everybody's fighting everybody. Akoto turned into a demon. He basically ate San.
Yeah.
Ashitaka gets there and is like, he tries to pull San out of like Akoto's tentacly hentai madness.
Yeah.
And he's just screaming and he's like, "Rah!" And the blood's coming and it's just like, blah, blah, blah. And then Moro is like, "Oh, you became a demon." She's like, "You can't even speak, can you?"
It's so sad.
And
he's lost his mind.
Yeah, and so Akoto like shakes his head and rips Ashitaka out.
Yeah.
And he goes flying into this pool of water. Then
Moro pulls San, I think. She puts...
she bites...
puts her mouth onto Akoto.
Yeah, she like bites her out of his goopy grossness.
She should have marks, but whatever.
Yeah.
So then kind of just like she falls into the pool too with Ashitaka a bit. And then the forest god walks out on the water like Jesus.
Yep.
And is like... I think kisses Akoto like the white boar, but he not to heal him, but to let him die in peace.
Right. He seemingly does that to both of them.
Yeah.
Akoto falls over, and his rage and his fury just kind of calms, and like the I don't know what
creepy
the tentacles kind of become like black ooze and goo, and it just calms down and it just pours all over him.
And then he's just bones, like he's.
Or is he melts away like Nago? I think he just falls over dead, and then the forest spirit looks at Moro and she falls over dead, and Jigo is like, "I don't get it. The great forest spirit took their lives away." And then I'm like, "Why do you care?
Right? Aren't you about to try?
You're trying to kill this guy."
Like,
anyway, so what we didn't say before is the forest spirit, I guess, is weak at a time when night becomes day because he transforms into this big, tall, walking kaiju looking thing.
Yeah.
So he starts to transform. His neck starts to get long like a giraffe. There's a hair in my mouth. And then Lady Eboshi shoots him in the neck with her gun.
Fuck. Shotgun. Like, she's just got her powder. She don't care.
Yeah, she's
watching this magical shit happen, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I see you're making flowers bloom and walking on water."
Right. Anyway, blap blap blap. Get this blicky.
Doesn't give a shit. Me, I'm in tears. I'm looking at this god, and I'm just like, "Oh my god." Like fear of the supernatural. Lady Eboshi does not care. Like the supernatural's in front of her, and she's like,
It's interesting though because I don't think she cares about the money. I don't think she cares about the fame or whatever. She's like, "Fine, Jigo, I'll get this head for you so you can fuck off, and then, I need your forces to help me go back and fight." That was like their deal. I don't even know if she believes that he's gonna uphold this deal. She's like, "Whatever, let's just get this done." Because she's just so like, "I'm about that business."
Yeah.
And then, so she goes and tries to shoot the forest spirit. Oh, she does. She shoots the forest spirit through the head. And then Ashitaka is like, "Stop!" And then he like wakes up again.
Oh yeah.
And then
he keeps going.
He like he makes plants and stuff grow out of her gun, like the wood of her gun.
And she gets so mad.
And it like starts to not work. And then she like manually like puts the burning like flint thing into
just another Another great example of who she is. Like,
Yeah.
she charges straight ahead, and she wants, like, she's so focused on what she needs to happen. She's not a woman easily deterred.
Mm-hmm.
Even with that, like, making flowers bloom out of the gun. Like, I would have seen that and been like, you know what? It's not meant to be.
That would have changed my mind
enough.
Immediately.
That's enough. This
would've
is
been
like God.
Oh,
Like, that's it. But she was like,
you will die.
and she does. Yeah, she says you will die. And what's wild is she's not like. I'm thinking she's gonna have a minute to be like, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm a little in over my head.
Yeah.
I think.
Nope.
Am I not
She
bringing
doubles down.
death on myself? Like,
Flower power.
She's just. You're gonna die. I'm like, girl, don't you think the universe is tired of you? You must be you're a hard-headed ass bitch. I'm sorry. Like,
Doubles
all
down.
these signs, doubles down. Is like, I don't care. You will die, girl. When we bang our heads against walls, we get headaches.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm being privileged because, like, maybe it's just in her mind it's a luxury to, like, think that way. Maybe in her mind it's just like you
all she
said,
knows.
survival. Yeah.
She got to where she was by doing this.
I need to do whatever I need to do to get what I need, no matter what. And I'm sitting here like, but what about the how?
Yeah.
Isn't the how important in my cushy life? Like, so who am I? I don't know. Am I really being unfair? Like, I don't agree with what she did, but I can't say that I don't understand her way of living.
Yeah.
It's a hard life to live as a woman in general, but especially you're a woman leading a village.
Yeah.
I'm sure every 5 seconds somebody is looking to take you down.
Right.
Like,
or undermine you in some way.
Yeah, steal from you, extort you, deceive you, and all these people are relying on you. All these women are relying on you.
Yeah, all these marginalized groups that she probably feels immense pressure.
Yeah.
A reason is not an excuse.
It's not. I love when you say that. It's true.
So then she blows the damn head off of the freaking forest spirit.
It works this time.
And she gets him like right in the neck as he's transforming, and it's just like
they go
like a balloon.
Like Jigo is like, all right, go get it, and they go like they're picking up a tote from Walmart. Like they don't hesitate. Nobody's like, they're like, okay, put it in the box, let's leave. I'm like, did you see what you just did? Like they're picking up a fresh
pizza pie to take home to your kids.
Literally,
you know they're gonna be hungry after soccer practice. Get the thing and go. Come on.
They don't hesitate, and I'm like, are we not gonna take a minute to have a moment of silence? They're like, nope, tag him and bag him. Let's get that delivery on. I want my check cleared. Yeah. I'm like,
and what a contrast to the beginning when Ashitaka's village has a god die on their grounds, and they're like, we will perform a funeral here, and this ground will be blessed. Eboshi's like, let's go, come on. I got Hot Pockets in the microwave still at home.
Literally.
I got Totino's in the oven.
Literally a contrast for real. She does. She has pepperoni and cheese. And she doesn't have time for this.
No.
So, yeah, that happens. They take the damn head.
My show's coming on.
And the body of the god kind of turns into this grayish, bluish, purplish, primordial ooze.
Yeah.
And that ooze kills everything it touches.
Mm-hmm.
And then
including trees.
Yeah.
And like the trees start to die, and the little kodama are falling out of the trees. The little forest spirits are just falling out and like dying and dissolving.
Leaves. It's so sad.
Yeah, and the song that plays there is just still very mystical, but it's like really sad and heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And so then all hell breaks loose.
Yeah. So the body of the god also, besides the goo, it gets like 1,000,000 feet tall and becomes this terrifying, it almost looks like a monster amoeba.
Yeah.
Like it's just like walking around, and I didn't realize until a few times in watching it, I was like, it's not just, I thought at first it was just walking like destroy everything, and then eventually I was like, no, it's not. Like it's not mindlessly walking, it's looking for its head.
Mm-hmm. You can see it like brushing its hands along the forest and killing all the trees in its wake.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Because it's death now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not, I thought it was like, I don't think it's in its mind. It's like, I need to kill things. I think it's, you cut me off from my life. all I have to give is what I am.
What is there that's left then?
But
just
death.
death. When you upset the balance of something so, I don't know, something that teeters on such a fragile balance of life and death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All you have is death.
It's gonna go steep onto one side.
And that's not evil.
And overcorrect.
Yeah, definitely overcorrect. And I think when I was younger, I probably would have seen that. I'd be like, the forest spirit's so mean. I mean, yeah.
So mean.
He's so mean. Like, why is it killing everything? And now I'm like, it's not trying to kill everything, but it is what it is. Which I think relates and is a great parallel to, like, deforestation or climate change. Like, if you have a government or like a series of leadership that prioritizes money and cheap fuel over the health of the land, and suddenly you don't have access to clean water, or the land is growing vegetables that are making your people sick, or suddenly it's hard to breathe in these areas where you cut down forests. Are you then going?
Not in America though.
Oh, never in America. We don't do anything.
Yeah, we don't have anything.
Absolutely not. But if you do that, and then you have these consequences, you can't say, wow, the earth is just such a bad place to live. Nature is so cruel and unforgiving. No, it's not. You are reaping the natural consequences of imbalance. Mm-hmm. You can't sit here and say the forest god is like taking vengeance or I genuinely do not see it as like I'm killing everything because I can't find my head. I see it as I have no life now. You killed me. Yeah. I'm dead. So what else can I do when I move but
it's
bring
like a
death
rubber
with
band
me?
snap back. Like,
yeah, you can't do this and have no consequences. I am connected to you.
Yeah, it doesn't feel malicious. It doesn't feel like, how dare you? It's just that it is what it is, which is death.
Which I like, because I feel like coming from a Judeo-Christian background in the way that we do, they always frame God, like consequences to the earth or humanity, as God's anger.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is it God's
the righteous
anger?
Vengeance?
The righteous vengeance. And I'm like, maybe, but maybe there's some things that are just natural consequences of neglect. Like if I have a plant and I'm not watering it or giving it food, and one day I come home, let's say it's a tomato plant, and I come home and I smell rotted fruit and there's flies everywhere in my kitchen, I'm not going to go, damn, this plant is just making my house smell so bad. This plant is so evil. There's nothing is good about tomato plants. They just stink up your house, and all they're good for is rotting in your house.
That's all they do. You can't even eat the fruit.
You can't eat. I don't know how people eat tomato fruits. And then maybe one day I see somebody who has a flourishing greenhouse full of tomato fruits, and they're like, are you sure it's not just how you're treating the plant? And I go, no.
The hot rod.
But like, yeah, it's fascinating to me. I like this natural concept. I don't know if that's like a tenet of Shintoism that's being kind of shown here, but they don't frame the god as like, I'm angry, so I'm gonna kill everybody. It's more like, you killed me.
This is a consequence.
And I am the forest, and the forest is me, and you actually also are the forest. So if I touch you, you'll also die, because life is interconnected. You cannot kill life in me and not kill it in yourself. I'm not being evil.
I would drop this mic if it wouldn't just stay perfectly still.
You can't. And I feel like that whole scene at the end is exactly what it's saying. Like, you can't expect to kill life over there and go back to your home safe and sound and be unaffected, because the ooze spreads all over and is headed to Irontown to kill them. And they killed themselves. Like, if they were... We're not there yet, but yeah.
It's like the... God, I hate that I'm connecting it to this, but I think of the meme. It's a meme, but it's a scene from the Eric Andre show where he like... I forget what the context is from like the whole show, but it'll be like... it's the scene where he like turns around and he just shoots a Hannibal Buress in the chair. He just shoots him a bunch of times, and then he's like, how could, X do this? Like, it'll be like labeled as like, not to bring him into it, but it'll be like Trump, and it'll be like he's shooting like the U.S. economy, and he'd be like, how could liberals do this?
Yes, literally that. And I'm like, wait, aren't you eliminating your role in this? Like, you're just acting like these things happen, and gosh darn it, those nasty other group, like, you did this. And so from this point on now, Ashitaka's like, oh fuck. And like everybody's just kind of like, well, not everybody. Jigo is happy. He's just like, keep running.
Yeah, he's like, I got what I need. He literally says, he's like, when Ashitaka's trying to stop him, he's like, come on, boy, everybody wants everything, but the point is I might actually get it. And then Ashitaka literally is like, don't make me kill you.
Literally, he's reprehensible. He's just, yeah. So now him and San are just like chasing this spirit, and they're like, and they're also trying to get the head back because they know they're watching, and they're like, he's looking for his head. We got to get him his head back. He's headed for Irontown. Mm-hmm. We got to do something. So they...
And Jigo's trying to stall for time because the sun's about to come up.
Right.
And if the sun comes up, then he'll die for good.
Right. Because it's still, we're at right before dawn. Mm-hmm. We've been fighting all night. This is so much is happening. So they're chasing down the head to get it from Jigo and his men. We
also skipped over the fact that Moro's head that is decapitated off of her body because of the the ooze, I think, kind of goes over her body.
Oh.
There's a line earlier where she says, you know, if we kill San, it's not going to be the end of it, because if you cut off a wolf's head, it still has the power to bite you. Fast forward to where we currently are, the ooze kind of like goes over Moro's like body and like kind of looks like it cuts her head off. And then the head jumps up and bites Lady Eboshi's arm off.
Oh, that's right.
And she says, I told you a wolf's head could still bite.
Sure enough.
So...
Oh, yeah, so he takes her with them.
Yeah.
Ashitaka takes pity on her. I would have left her ass, but...
I know. And then they have this great moment where he's trying to protect Lady Eboshi, and San is like, I will kill her. Mm-hmm. And
I hate all of you. I hate all humans.
Yeah, and he's like, yes, I'm human, San, and so are you. But like, basically, she's like ready to give up. They both are, and he's like, well, what are we gonna do about this? Which is another great moment of his like positive masculinity, where he's not like, you fucking did this and you fucking did this, like all you stop doing. He's like, what can we do together?
Yeah.
And he just holds San, and she just like kind of
melts and she cries in his
into
arms.
him after trying to stab him with his sister's necklace,
because he sees her hurt.
Yeah.
Like what she's saying is that he validates her hurt. He's like, I know that you're doing this because you're in pain. And I know, I understand. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I may not be choosing sides, but I want what you want. And let's do something. And
it is like a really idealistic view, but he's also realistic, because he's like, now let's go do something before this thing kills all of us.
Yeah.
Like, he's such a good balance of, balance. The word balance keeps coming up.
He's very balanced.
In the movie in general. Like, it just seems like what the message is, like, there has to be a balance. And we can get to this at the end, but yeah, so they're trying to find the head.
Mm-hmm. They're running. The decapitated god is headed towards Irontown, because that's where Jigo and his men are running to. We've got Lady Eboshi sans one arm. I don't know if Ashitaka's carrying her on her back. I don't know how that's working, but
I think he sends Gonza with Lady Eboshi to go
man.
To go back to Irontown, and then Ashitaka and San are riding the wolves, chasing the head.
To chase the head. So they get to the head. They get to the cliffs above Irontown, and at that point the god's ooze has like created a pool almost that's kind of surrounding all of them. So it's Jigo, two of his men who are holding both ends. They've got the head in a wooden box carried on poles, so they're like and they're getting stuck because the god's ooze of death is just surrounding them. They're like,
Ivan ooze.
And so Jigo is still relentless. He's like, nope, see, dawn is almost coming, just stand on a rock if you need to, but don't give it back. And Ashitaka and San are like, give us the fucking head, and he's like, no. So I don't know how they eventually, I think the ooze gets too much, right? How did they eventually just get it?
It starts to like circle around them, and they bake it onto this rock, and then I think Jigo realizes that they're screwed. So then
like, fuck, all right.
they open the box. Ashitaka and San have the head of the forest spirit,
and Ashitaka says it needs to be returned by human hands.
By human hands.
The nipples of dawn are cresting over the horizon.
The nipples of dawn.
We're running out of time. That sounds like a dirty romance novel.
I was just gonna say it's just gonna be your next book that you buy from the grocery store.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The Nipples of Dawn, and its sequel, the
dusky areolas of autumn.
Dusk.
Testicles of dust, the areolas of autumn.
Areolas of autumn is great.
Period.
Great alliteration.
Oh yeah, right next to the ranch hand and the rogue. I've read these books way too early in my life. Let me tell you, you shouldn't be 9-year-old and reading a Western about soiled doves.
Oh my god!
And if you don't know what that means, good, you'll see the gates of heaven. Good for you. So yeah, they hold
they're like, forest spirit, we give you back your head. And then while this whole time when they go to do it, the curse is spreading over both of them like crazy. Like just, and their son's like looking at herself like, you know, it's going all over her, all over their body. It looks like the Sasuke curse.
Yeah.
And then the thing comes down and is like and like
pours
reconnects.
Over them, gets the head.
All this light goes through it. And it's this bright freaking light. And then it
as sun rises.
Right as the sun rises, and it stands up and it looks at the sun, and then it starts to collapse. I was gonna like have my body go away from the mic, and it collapses and it falls on Irontown, and then it lands on Irontown, blows up in this huge freaking like
everything's decimated,
destroys
the houses,
puts like the fire out of the like what is it? Not the kiln, but like the foundry, the forge.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It blows out the forge, and then they're like, well, then, you know, we're fucked. Like, there goes all of Irontown.
But
blows all the samurai away. Blows all the everything away.
Everything. And at this point, for Irontown, right before the head was going up, the black ooze was, like, touching. Like, it was... They were told to get out on the water.
Yeah. Because it slows it down.
It kind of slows it down. So a lot of the citizens of Irontown are like in the water in these little boats, or they're and they're just like watching this ooze, and they're like, oh my god, everything's being blown, and then it stops once they return it. So the death ooze has stopped, but the wind, as the god falls on Irontown, the big wooden walls, like you said, the fire in the foundry, all of their houses are just blown away like a tornado wind rips through Irontown. So they're back at square one, just like the forest is also back at square one.
Yeah, but then, like, it's so quiet in this moment, and you start to see, like, little bits of green starting to come up, and then all around the area where the forest spirit fell is just, like, greenery and little flowers and little sprouts and things. And
slowly.
And one of my favorite moments of this scene that I didn't notice until, like, maybe 2 or 3 like watches ago. I think like 2 times ago when I watched it in theaters. I noticed all the people on the boat. There's a bunch of people who are wrapped up in rags and are pulling their hands out of like these bandages and looking at their hands. Right. And those are the lepers.
The lepers get healed.
That have been healed, which is so cool. Like they're all like looking at each other. Like bandages are falling off and they're healed.
Skin,
and they're just youthful again, and it's like so it's this really beautiful and quiet moment, and then I love your passion for this movie. Thank you, Keaton. That literally made my life. That's what this whole channel is about. Experience Point. Like, we're sharing our experience of this movie and sharing passion, and I live for this.
Fantastic.
I'm literally trying not to cry right now.
So then we see the little, I almost said Koroks, Kodama, and we see
one.
Only one. I thought.
No.
Oh, I thought slowly a bunch of... Okay, maybe it was
It's
one.
the last thing we see in the movie.
Oh, like one of them slowly walks out on a branch and it's just like, its head just shakes.
Yeah.
And I love that... Oh, right. But before it closes out, there's a scene between San and Ashitaka. And San is... I'm paraphrasing, but she's basically like... Yeah, I feel like she expresses her gratitude, and she's like, I'll never forget you, Ashitaka. You know, I care about you. But I can never forgive the humans. I'm sorry.
She's like,
I'm not going to live with them.
I hope you don't expect me to go live there.
Or with you.
Or,
wherever Because I guess it's implied that Ashitaka's going to live in Irontown because, I mean, obviously he can't go back home.
Well, yeah, he says as much. He's like, yeah, like, I totally get that. And I love that because he's not trying to be like, but I love you,
which
so
means
we have to be together.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, immediately. He's like, yeah, I totally get it. You can go live.
I'll come visit
you. live in the
you.
forest. I'm going to help them rebuild Irontown. Yakula and I will come visit you whenever we can. And
she goes.
And they part for the time being. Well, but before that, they both look and they're healed from the curse, but they have little, like, almost like birthmarks now of like little reminders. And she says, she's like, what is, oh no, she says like, well, the forest spirit is dead. Like, what can we even do now? And Ashitaka goes, he's not dead. He's all around us.
Why did she say that? Because they gave him his head back.
I think
confuses
because
me.
he dies because the sun comes up before he got to turn back.
Really?
Into the daywalk, into the little deer version.
I did not read it like that. I thought he lived.
No, he like.
They gave
died.
his head back and it was too late. How did I never see that? I've seen this movie 5 times in my life.
So it stops, I think, the path of destruction.
But
and
it doesn't bring...
And it stands up. So what it probably would have done in that moment, if the sun hadn't come up, is it would stand back up and then revert back into the deer form.
Oh.
But I think because it didn't have time to, when the sun came up, it was still in the night form, the night walker, as they call it, that it was like, well, shit. We don't know why, but it can't. Or maybe it died because it's, its head got cut off and the returning of the head was symbolic. I don't know.
Like,
but yeah, he kind of just falls and blows up. So
that's so obvious now that you say it, but I never saw it that way.
Interesting.
I don't know why. Now it makes sense, but for some reason I thought he lived. But I block out that line of suns because I think my brain was like, what are you talking about? He's not dead. You remember you gave him your head, girl. You did that 2 minutes ago. Did you forget? Like, but I do love that the trees do not just grow back instantly like magic.
Yeah.
Like, nothing grows back. It didn't take one night to destroy the forest. So it's not going to take one day or one moment to rebuild it.
Yeah.
I really thought that was poignant, and it would have been super easy considering the supernatural elements have already been introduced in this movie. It would have probably been really easy to just make the forest, restore it to its full former glory, and they don't do that. They give you little moss, tiny little sprouts. They give you whispers of what could be. And they put it in their hands, which I feel like puts it in their hands, right?
Exactly.
How easy would it be for, I'm a god.
Oh, the whole forest is back. All the people are gone.
Here's the 50-foot trees you burned down.
Yeah. He says, she's like, what do we do now? The forest spirit's dead. And Ashitaka goes, no, he's all around us. He's everything. He's life itself.
Yeah.
And she goes, what does this mean for us? And he says, I think he's saying it's time for us to live. And they're looking at their hands that have the little bit of birthmarks that'll always be there as a reminder of like, here's what can happen if you let hate get out of control again. I love that you pointed out they're just seedlings. Like, there's just moss and little things. Yeah, like he's not just like tree like
You get a tree. You
like
get a tree.
Don Cheadle is Captain Planet, like tree.
Yo.
He is telling them, the forest spirit is telling them, it's in your hands. You have to cultivate this now.
And you always did, really.
Yeah.
You didn't do it before.
Here's a chance for you to do it right this time.
Because life, you're connected to life too. It's not just me as the forest god snapping my fingers and making a tree. I can only do... Maybe not can only do so much, because if you're going to say you're a god, then I would think you would have tons more power, but it's very much giving the power is yours, Captain Planet. It's very much giving to me like, you have always been and should always continue to strive to be an agent in this world we call life, in these cycles. Like, you can't just be waiting for someone to snap their fingers and restore an issue. Like you said, I'm giving you the seeds. I'm restoring I'm making sure you have fertile earth. And maybe the god could also be like, oh, but then how would you really appreciate what you've spent so long destroying?
Right.
Shouldn't you have a chance to collaborate with life instead of, like, you shot it down?
It's weird.
You should have a part in restoring it over time.
You have to learn that yourself, or else nothing's going to change, and the pattern's just going to continue.
They'll keep destroying it if the god just goes, oh, I fixed it for you.
I fixed it for you. You're fine. It may sound weird that I'm coming back to this, but I think about toxic relationships that I've been in where friends, family have told me, like, hey, this person is not good for you. They are manipulating you. They are, in the case of one of them, cheating on you. I mean, I guess technically both. But, and I was like, well, no, I don't know. I mean, you make every excuse, and you have to, and this could be a toxic relationship, or like a family member, a friend, a coworker. Until you get to a point where you're like, I have to do this right.
Yeah.
I can't. You have to realize what you want the future to look like in a healthy way, and if you don't, then, or if somebody does it for you, or like in this case, like, I think if the partner that I left, if they had broken up with me, I would have been like devastated, and then the next relationship that I got in, I would be like, oh, it's all because of her, and blah blah blah. And then it would have continued. Like, I had to realize
you have to take agency.
Yeah, and make the change, and cultivate the healthy parts. Like, they have these seedlings now. The forest spirit's like, here's the beginnings of life again. I'm giving you another chance. With my last, like, dying breath, it seems. Don't fuck this up, because you know what it will look like. The same thing will happen if you do. And it's on them. It's on the humans now to, like, cultivate,
for the forest and cultivate it,
and work together with the forest. And sorry to go off on like a personal tangent like that, but
no, I think that was very relevant.
They had to see the consequences of what would have happened if they didn't, and they got really, really close.
Yeah.
And a moment that I really like, which I think this was an answer to a question that you may have asked a while ago, but you said something about I forget what you said that triggered it, but we see them split up at the end. They're like, we're gonna try to do everything that we can, and I find it really interesting that we don't get like a little wrapped up bow at the end that's like, Ashitaka helped rebuild Irontown, and 200 years later it was flourishing, and
I'm hopeful. Yes, I am hopeful for today. Taking music and move you, let it take you away.
Exactly.
And be hopeful, and he'll make a way.
Right, the freeze frame, like
the black early 2000s movie canon, if y'all don't know, is so notorious for ending every movie with like each character having a
and
freeze
so
frame.
Went back to college and is now working as a
as a bank teller at NBC Bank or whatever, or DeAndre got shot. There's always one guy that got shot.
Right, somebody always dies
and has a home going, and it's like in memory of. And then there's Jamal, who got a basketball scholarship, and he's at an N1 school.
Yeah.
N1A1.
M1A1, the Gorillaz song.
Oh my God, what was it?
D1, Division 1.
I don't know shit about sports. I'm sorry, but yeah, and like Tamika opened her own hair salon and got out the hood. It's like it's supposed to be inspirational, but it cracks me up. Yeah, they don't do that.
So like,
I love it.
Tell me and show me again, like, which is not Miyazaki's style.
Never Miyazaki style.
But what I like is that there's still a potential, like. And it's probably more likely, unfortunately, that after this, like, who knows, probably not right away, but it's more likely that it does fall apart again at some point, because
humans don't
hatred
learn.
Is cyclical, and humans don't learn. Human nature is that of greed and selfishness, and we can hope that they learned their lesson and they live happily ever after, harmoniously with the forest. I want to believe that. Unfortunately, I don't know if I do.
But what I love is that,
I like that we don't know.
I like that too. Studio Ghibli has conditioned me to like those endings.
Yeah, they try. And what they end on is we're gonna try. We're gonna be intentional. We're going to do the best that we can, and sometimes that's all you can do.
How beautiful! How
so Japanese.
Yeah, it does feel like a lot of values that I know Japanese culture seems to really revere. Not so much the what, but the how and the why. It really feels like it's asking, like, okay, you have goals, you have things that you want. Maybe you should care more about how you're getting to those goals than whether or not you achieve them. The process, I feel like Studio Ghibli has so much reverence for the process of life as opposed to the end results of our processes of life. Oh my God,
totally.
You see that even in like the softer movies, let's say like My Neighbor Totoro, Kiki, living in a bread shop, and like the simplicity of the baking. And we know Studio Ghibli is super well known for their foods. Ponyo had me drinking honey milk so regularly because it was so romantic the way they filmed the food. And like in Boy and the Heron, there's a scene where a woman is making jam and butter toast. Tricked me into wanting that again. Like
the bacon in Howl's Moving Castle. I want that
bacon. It's I don't want to say it's just, but in my brain, and that's why I like Ghibli, because they make me take the things that in my head I've categorized as, oh, that's just a cup of water. Okay, that's just a tomato sandwich. Yeah. It's just bacon. It's just an egg. And it makes me think, but look at the freshness of that yolk.
Yeah.
There's such beauty in sweeping a floor, or like in Howl's Moving Castle, the scenes where Sophia and Markle are hanging laundry out by the lake and a rain front passes over the lake and Sophie is just like rocking in a chair by the sunset and they're sipping tea and Turnip Head is helping them with the laundry, and
Turnip Head.
The music just gets so gentle, and it makes me feel like, oh, this is the process of life. It's not about,
I love that. Is
the laundry clean? It's you spent time with people you cared about in warm weather, hanging billowing sheets up that you washed with intention.
I was just gonna say intention lovely. As soon as you said it. That's so important. That's such an important word to us.
Yeah,
like in our as individuals and our
relationship.
In our relationship.
And you
see the journey is the destination.
That's so Ghibli's vibe and value. And you even see it in the end of that scene in Howl's Moving Castle specifically that I'm referencing, where Markle comes out and Sophie's got her table in her rocking chair and she's sipping tea by the lake, and he's like, we got all the laundry folded away, Sophie, and she's like, thank you, Markle. When you're old, all you want to do is stare at the scenery. I've never felt so peaceful in my life. It's strange. Like, that line so embodies the energy of that moment, because to see it objectively, she's doing things that we think are very normal every day.
Yeah.
You're drinking tea, you're doing laundry, you're eating bread with butter and jam. These are plebeian things. These are things that people would say are, oh, anybody does that. That's not remarkable. That's not special. But she's just watching the sunset and taking care of things around the house that need attention, and there's just a quiet, contented intention. And I feel that in so many of the Ghibli films, like the process is respected.
Yeah.
It's revered even. And it makes me think differently about the day-to-day of my life.
Yeah. I heard a phrase once that's, I'm sure if I Googled this, I could find out who it was attributed to, but somebody told me once that the magic of music isn't the notes, it's the space between them.
I love that.
Because you can have a song. I'm a big metal fan. I like a lot of noise and there's very little space and silence between these notes because it's very like and that gives you like a feeling of energy and but a softer song, like something like Joe Hisaishi would write for Ghibli, is a lot of like sweeping and slower, and like you feel the weight of the spaces between the music, and that's also portrayed visually, and just that the soul of these movies is very much like showcasing, almost like flipping the priority of the spaces between, and not just the like big action set pieces and And in Mononoke, it's probably the most different. Like I said at the beginning, it's the most different than their most movies, because I think it has some of the highest stakes of any of the movies.
Yeah.
But I feel like here the quiet moments are the moments of like the connection and balance. Like that word of balance keeps coming up, and intention and healing, but not just in a physical way, but in like a
holistic way.
Or maybe or maybe not just healing, but maybe like just harm reduction. Like in a world that's like plagued with greed, and like greed is a thing that one of the main themes of this movie that I take anyway.
He treats it like Miyazaki treats it like a cancer for sure.
And it's hate and greed and fear is very much portrayed as the curse that he has.
Yeah.
And to see with eyes unclouded by hate is so profound, but so difficult. You know how hard that is to do? It's
really hard when you're in it. I think Ashitaka has, I'm going to say this tentatively because he was cursed. So I don't want to say he's completely outside of the issue. Like, he's there because their issue affected him. He's cursed because Lady Eboshi was, shooting a god. Like, she was shooting a boar god. Like, Nago, they treat him like a lord and a god. I mean, if a boar was talking to me, I'd also be like, you gotta be some kind of authoritative supernatural being.
Well, he was like in charge of the forest, I think, that Irontown was built on. So
right, it broke his heart with all the fire and burning of literally broke him.
Yeah.
And so I guess I was going to say, like, I'm sure it's a little bit, I don't want to say easier, but I do wonder, like, is it easier for Ashitaka to have eyes unclouded by hate when he has not grown up in Irontown, or does not have pre-existing relationships with any of these people? Like, is it easier to be objective and to see with eyes unclouded when you aren't, like, it's not your village, it's not your forest, you're literally an outsider and an exile. Like, so you don't have anything to lose. Well, I mean, you're gonna die. He's told from the beginning, like, this is going to kill you, just so you know. Yeah, the old lady doesn't even tell him, like, you could save yourself. She just says you rise to meet your fate. She doesn't say what it is.
Which I love.
She just gets, you're going to die.
It's not like you will save the world, or you will
save yourself,
or cure your curse. Like, it's you rise to meet it. You do what you can with what you have. Mm-hmm. And you said, what does he have to lose? And it's kind of sparked something in me. Like, and again, this is why Ashitaka is such a good character. I feel like in any other story like this, or similar stories like this, look at your Pocahontas, look at your Avatar, Blue People Avatar.
Thank you, because I went straight to Ong.
Yeah.
Aang, I'm playing.
Ong?
I'm just mocking the movie that never was.
Oh, God, we don't talk about Bruno. He, like, Pocahontas. But Daddy, I love him. Like,
not that colonizer dude.
He, or like Blue People Avatar, he falls in love. He's like, wow, look at this hot piece of indigenous ass. Now I'm gonna rise up and I'm gonna fight with my own people, fight against my own people. They very easily could have done that. They could have been like, oh my God, San, I love you. I'm going to help you fight the humans now. These bad, evil humans.
They always do use fetishization as a catalyst for somebody caring about other people's rights.
You know where they don't use it?
Where?
In a little film called Princess Mononoke. Because he has arguably more... Because you're like, you said something about like, well, is it a bit of a privilege because he was so secluded off in his... And I would say yes if he stayed there the whole time. But he left and he went to somewhere where he was completely unfamiliar and started to fall in love with someone from on one of the sides.
I mean,
so
I think I should clarify. Like, when I say privilege, I mean, is it... how do I phrase this? Like, is it a privilege for him to come into a situation where he doesn't know anybody previously? Would it have been harder? Like, can we commend him for seeing with eyes unmarred by hate when he, like, he wasn't in this situation prior? Like, he's not fighting back against years. Like, for Lady Eboshi or San to be where he is, I feel like it would take a lot of work for them because this has been what years this animosity has been building,
right?
Like, Ashitaka found, but then, like, he's cursed with the hate, so I'm not saying he doesn't feel it, but, like, would it be harder if instead of Irontown this was his village fighting with a forest in his region? Like, would he still have the ability to be so unmarred by hate? So I guess when I say privilege, I mean, is it right? Is his ability and his strength and his ability to, like, be objective a core tenet of who he is? And would it be made harder if it was fighting against something that was the air he breathed his whole life? Like, coming into a situation, is it a little easier at first? Now, it's not easy for him. He's tortured the whole movie. I can see it. Physically, he's tortured.
Yeah.
But, like, would it be harder for him? Like, is his privilege his superpower? Like, is the reason that he was sent for this fate because he's so far removed from it that he would have the objectivity to see with eyes unclouded by hate? And he also doesn't gaslight people just because he's outside of that situation either.
Yeah.
He doesn't go, San, you should be nice to the humans. I know, but I'm seeing through eyes unclouded by... Like, he expresses his desire, but he also validates everybody. So I don't know what I'm trying to say or if it makes sense.
No, I'm hearing you. I think why I brought up, like, him falling in love with San is that that's the moment where he frankly should have... He has something, like, he really deeply cares about her. He could have picked a side. And then the hate could have come in because he's like, well, now I have something to love, something to lose. And the fact that he didn't, I think, just shows more of, like, his strength of his ability to see unclouded by hate.
Saying.
Because, like, I mean, you make a good point that it's like, yeah, if this happened in his village, maybe it would have, like, happened differently. But he's not so far removed from it that he gets to be like,
right? Because I guess
because
the pain
he's
is
in love with her.
Well, that and the pain is in his body.
Well, yes, but, like, I don't know if I wouldn't have, like, if it was you, it would be really difficult for me to be like, yeah, but, like,
I don't want to pick a side.
I don't want to pick a side. It would sound wishy-washy, but it's not.
That's a good point, because if anybody else, for some reason I'm okay with Ashitaka and I don't feel like he's wishy-washy, but I know that his rhetoric objectively could come off that way, especially between two groups of people who are...
It's a lot like Naruto.
Yeah.
Naruto had that talk no jutsu down.
He'd
He'd
sure
be like,
did.
why can't we all be friends? And while I do think he was a fucking moron to keep pursuing Sasuke because Sasuke was an autonomous human who made his own choice to leave the goddamn village. I appreciate and commend Naruto's ability to connect, to be kind of a bridge between two people, two sides of a conflict.
And he does it, Naruto also, and Ashitaka too, they both seem to do it in a way that doesn't diminish the pain that's happening or necessarily build false equivalencies either, which I hate personally.
Yeah.
I hate that.
He acknowledges both.
Yeah. Yeah, he does.
Now, yes, one side was kind of trying to basically colonize one of the other sides. But he wasn't trying to say, like, there were bad people on both sides.
Yeah,
he was like,
that could have been really easy to fall into.
He's like, I understand both of you. literally look at what it's doing to you and me.
Also, the fact that he tried to kill, he had to stop his arm, but he didn't want to stop his arm from killing Lady Eboshi in the beginning. But I didn't see him have a moment like that with the wolves. Maybe that made me feel like, because he admits, he's like, I'm here because of this. And he like rolls it her way, and she's like, oh yeah, that's like from our weaponry.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
he's like,
I shot the boar. She's like, I shot him.
and he's like, she just seems so. I think that was what made me feel like he wasn't drawing a false equivalence necessarily. Like, he has criticism for both of them, but I feel like he leans into it a bit more with the humans, because again, the catalyst for him being here is a human shooting a boar.
Yeah. And
Like,
he is a human.
And he is a human.
Which you can't completely remove yourself from that. I mean, yeah, he grew up in a village that seemed to thrive off of the balance of civilization and
respect
nature.
To the point that his first thought, like Lady Eboshi's first thought when confronted with nature is,
yeah.
And like you said earlier, when we were talking about it at the beginning, you were like, he doesn't start with violence. Like, his masculinity and the way that he was raised, he goes to deference and respect, and he's humble. And he's like, oh, mighty Lord. Can you imagine Lady Eboshi ever doing that?
No.
But maybe not to, I don't want to attack her or compare, because she has undoubtedly had a hard life. But in the culture, like the culture of where she is versus where Ashitaka was raised, everybody just seems to have such reverence. And Nago is destroying everything and killing people. Like, if they wanted to respond with fire, I wouldn't be shocked and I wouldn't have blamed them. But they, like you said, they start with, Almighty Lord, we will honor you. We are so sorry for your pain and hate. And even then, like, Nago's still like,
he's like, fuck y'all.
Fuck your rituals.
Yeah.
I want you to
Soon
hurt.
you will feel my hate and suffer as I have suffered.
God, that's so hard.
And this made me think, like, I wonder the message that, God, I would love to talk to Miyazaki. The message of, like, if you look at, in terms of human civilization, like, we are humans. Studio Ghibli is all humans. Like, that's, I don't think any animals made this movie. If you look at just the two sides of the human civilization here, you have, like, the incredibly, like, the industrial side. You have Irontown. You don't have the deference, but you have, it's thriving, it's booming, it's, you know, progress. They have technology, they have, you know, medicine, and they're healthy. Like, they have a colony of lepers there that are, you know, like, doing the best that they can.
They have accessible career options for women.
Right. And then you have Ashitaka's village, which is, like, basically falling apart. And it's like, yes, you have the deference to nature, and it's almost like neither of these options are the right way, because humanity does have to have progress.
Or do you mean neither of these like both of these options have like
merit
and also like drawbacks to them?
Yes, I think they
my
both.
immersion is kicking in.
Yeah, right.
Like, you're like, not good.
Don't say good. Can't say good.
Value language. Oh my goodness.
I think they both kind of went a little bit too far in one direction. Like, if I had to pick one to say was objectively better, it would probably be the Amishi people. But it isn't sustainable. Like, their progress and their resources are so low. Like, they're all dying out. On the other hand, Irontown is taking too much. And so I wonder if
balance.
Again, like, the balance, I wonder if the message isn't just like human progress and industry bad, nature good, let all of the earth reclaim humanity and kill us all.
Near. It's just Near.
Played Near Replicant.
Play Near Replicant.
And Automata. I think it's saying you have to have both. You have to have deference for nature and respect, and you have to, like, we have to find a way to progress. To progress. We have to have, but it has to be sustainable. And it's find and where we end up at the last little bit of the movie is you have Irontown that's surrounded with little seedlings and sprouts, and it doesn't destroy Irontown. It doesn't raise it to the ground and grow everything back.
I mean, it certainly makes a mess of it, but
sure,
yeah, it's the foundation is untouched.
But that whole valley was completely like stripped bare of all of it. So all of that's going to start to grow back, and then the town itself, they're still, like Ashitaka says, we'll help them rebuild. I think where it's landing is we do have to have progress, and that is going to, we are going to take resources to do it. And it's not to say like you can't do that,
but should be a sustainable way to take those resources
in a respectful way,
which there is, now that you mention it. And I think back to a lot of indigenous people know their land. Like First Nation people in this country have been leading experts in like wildlife and environmental preservation and climate justice for centuries, because of course they know their land. And then when I think about this, like, I think about things like fires. Like, so in the U.S., First Nations people, a lot of like indigenous tribes have like a ritual burnings that they do in certain areas to deal with forest fire. It's like a sustainable way that they've had over centuries that their ancestors passed down to teach them how to like deal with seasonal fires. Because seasonal fires happen, especially on the west coast of the United States. Yep. As you know, recently we've had the California fires, and I realized, observing that tragedy, it was a preventable tragedy, because many indigenous people were like, hey, we need to be doing controlled fires every now and again. There is a way to protect if you're going to keep raising the earth, big organizations and the U.S. government, you're going to keep building all this stuff, you should also be doing this. And they don't listen, and then this stuff happens. So I'm like, or even in my own, like even in my mom's culture, like just Ndebele culture, like she grew up in a village. Like my grandfather was the chief of that village, and like anytime somebody had like food,
so you are a princess.
I suppose that I am a princess. Yes. Yeah, my grandfather was the chief. God rest his soul. But like in the village, if let's say you got a big amount of meat, right? All of that was being used. The bones, the skin, the meat, like the hair, even like it could be used for clothes or shoes or toys or drums. Lots of drums are made out of animal skins. Like if you're taking resources, I think at least in my mom's culture, when we've talked about it, it's like wasting is dishonoring the sacrifice of resources that you're asking from nature, whether that's animals or plants, or you want wood for your stuff. Like how to get wood, like you can even see this in picking flowers. Like I remember there's times where I would go to like arboretums. I can't say it right.
I always said arboretum, but I don't know if that's the right way to say it.
The place where you see plants, so you get to go to the greenhouses. And there's always these little blurbs about certain plants, like how to pick them in a way that will sustain. Like if you're going to take this, then do this. If you're going to cut off plants, like don't rip them up, just please cut them, that way you can still grow from the cut root. Like, or if you're taking onions, rip them up, use some of them, don't throw out the bulbs, instead plant them and make like finding ways to recycle and honor every part of what you're asking from the earth, I think is a sustainable way to have progress and innovation while still respecting the resources that you are borrowing, and thinking of it in that way. Yeah. And I see that a lot in indigenous cultures.
Borrowing versus taking.
Yeah. And considering what you're going to do to keep the balance, right? Like, okay, let's say Lady Eboshi and everyone in Irontown was like, all right, so we need some more wood. It's probably not sustainable to just chop down one section. So what if we go to different I don't know, I'm just spitballing, I don't know if this is accurate. Go to different sections or only chop wood at certain times every, like, how can we, and maybe even sending Ashitaka to talk to San and being like, this is what they're saying they need. Is there anywhere that would be the least harmful place for us to take from?
Just being in constant
communication,
like, and
listen to the earth.
synergy.
Like, what do they need? Or be like, I know we wanted to take these, but right now it's like a high tide, and you know, if we do this, it'll disrupt the beavers' patterns, and then we'll be in like building our innovation around what Earth needs to. I think that's a path forward. But it's cool to be able to think about these things. And I know this is really long. Oh God,
this movie going for a while.
Oh my God. Okay,
3.5 hours.
I think that's it. I think I'm kidding, but I don't want to. No, I think I've said everything I need to say.
I think that was beautiful. I guess I'll end with the last, like, I know I said it is kind of not, I wouldn't say an ambiguous ending, but you don't know what happens after that. Human nature, there's a good chance that it all goes to shit. I like to believe that that's not the case. But I do think that Miyazaki will just kind of like nudge you in just a tiny little bit of a direction towards hope. And that's the very last scene of the movie where the camera's panning across all the plants that have regrown, and there's a little flower, and then one of the little kodama comes out and just just
like their head just jostles around,
clicks its little head, and it's like, oh, okay, so those things aren't, I don't want to say extinct because I don't know if they're like living creatures, but like, I mean, they are, but I don't know how they reproduce. But like, oh, there's one left. Like, that means there's hope. Like, it's.
They wouldn't be here if there wasn't.
They wouldn't be here if there wasn't hope, or if there wasn't life left, and a future for them. And when I first saw this movie, and like years after when I saw it for the first few times, I kept thinking, because I was, like, I don't know, 16-year-old selfish kid, I was like, I want them to make a sequel. I want them to make Princess Mononoke 2. I want to see what happens afterwards. Like, do Ashitaka and San get together? Do they have babies? Are they like in love? Are they going to be older? And
I would have wanted to know that when I was younger too.
Yeah, but like,
he would never.
He will never make a sequel.
I've never seen Miyazaki make a sequel, and I feel like I wouldn't even need to Google it. I'd be like, of course he doesn't want to.
Yeah.
He's gonna say I don't want to.
If you Google like, will Miyazaki ever make a sequel, it'll just be like, the only result will just be an image of his middle finger.
Yes, literally, I believe it.
And I now loving the way that this ends. I don't ever want a sequel to this.
Same.
I don't ever want more. I don't need more. I mean, maybe I would want more. If he thought there was another story to tell, I would probably be like, okay, I'll trust you. But he never will.
Viewer loyalty.
And that is fine.
Yeah.
That is okay.
How antithetical to Western media.
Oh my
Especially
God.
Disney.
Yeah, he's not out here trying to make a franchise out of any of his work.
No.
He's trying to make art.
And he could. The greed could get to him too. I mean, hello, Studio Ghibli is famous.
Yeah.
Like, globally. The amount of money they probably rack in over Studio Ghibli films. If they wanted to go the Disney route and make everything a franchise and squeeze the money dry from that, they probably could do it. And I also know that Miyazaki probably is just like, and that would probably be the day I quit Studio Ghibli.
Right.
Because it would not be Studio Ghibli if they were cash grabbing, popping out sequels like presents. Like,
that'd be the day he'd burn this shit to the ground.
He'd be like, oh, is this the day you want to announce a sequel to Ponyo 2? You want to do Ponyo 2? Okay. Just know I'm not in Studio Ghibli anymore, so.
Well, I have dissolved the company now, so goodbye.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Like, I don't...
think they make enough money with merch.
There's no way. It's greedy.
Yeah. And how, like you said, antithetical to...
Your
sure,
messages.
they're out to make money, but like, he always tells such personal stories. He made the two leads in Totoro girls because they were originally boys, because of his own experience
Him and his brother.
growing up with him and his brother with a mother who had leukemia, and he was like, oh shit, wait, this is actually way too close. I'm crying every day at work because this is just reminding me of us and her, and so I had to make them girls, which then, you know, like most of his protagonists are girls, which is like also so, I mean, this dude's like an old, fairly conservative, like Japanese man, like to have women in the forefront, like this, strong women who are not inquisitive, who are never sex symbols, who are never like, there's zero fan service.
They're not there to be projected upon or to have sexuality or romance projected upon them. They have such autonomy,
and such goals agency, and dreams and agency
and holistic, like 3-dimensional personalities and wishes and passions and drives and motivations that are exciting and innovative, like every one of these characters. And love can be there, and love is often there, but it's never the focal point of like, this is about romantic love and nothing else.
Yeah.
And he's so explicit about that, like wanting to highlight the beauty of platonic love, of love in forms that are not just, I think he's quoted as saying like, I resent the concept that just because you have a boy and a girl or a man and a woman on screen in a movie, they have to automatically be in romantic love, and that love has to be the driving central force just because they're together. Like, he was like, there are ways, I love you to not be, I'm paraphrasing, but he was like, I want to portray the love that's not like, how do you say it? He was like, I want the love that I portray to be, I want life for you. I want the best for you. I want you to be everything that you can be, not, oh, I love you and I'm going to cling to you and make my own whole identity and hopes and dreams about you, which even relates, we've talked about this in Princess Mononoke, of like, you know, there could be a lot of other tropes that would encourage Ashitaka to just convince San to live with him and be his wife, and like, or he lives with her. Like, there's really such a message of just because you love someone doesn't mean you have to give up your life, your vision, your dream. Like, it might not be. Just because you love someone doesn't mean you'll be with them, or even be with them in the way that you think you should. It may not always be what's right. And that's not a message that I hear in like movies growing up here where we are. It's like, love is everything. And by love, they mean romantic love. So you give up everything when you fall in romantic love. You give up your dreams, you give up your plans, and it's seen as romantic. But the way they fit that into like, I care for you, but I'm still me. And we've talked about this. Like, she's like, your love is wonderful, but I'm still a full person, and there's things that I have traumas that I'm not going to pretend like you loving me is going to erase being rejected by the human race for years and years. XOXO San.
Or minimize myself.
Yeah.
Like, so much, like,
also, her mom's dead. Who else is going to lead the wolves right now?
Right. Yeah. Like you said about, you know, oh, I love you because it's so much Western love stories are like, I love you for what you can do for me, and because of like, you know, I like looking at you, or I like doing sex with you.
I like how you make me feel, which is all beautiful, but the love in this movie is so holistic. Like, there's communities, right?
My last girlfriend would always say, without you, I'm nothing, and I did not care for that.
Right.
That is so true.
Felt wrong.
We were talking about that recently too. Like, one of the exes that I mentioned earlier, she really struggled with addiction, and I helped her through some of the things, multiple kinds of addiction, and I helped her through it because I loved her and wanted her to succeed, but she tied she associated me with her recovery. And so when our relationship started to get rocky, then she would always like relapse. And it was always so, because she's like, oh, but like, if we're, you know,
if I don't have you, what's the point
it's
of
like
anything?
If I don't have you, I'm nothing. Or like, it's a tired cliche to be like, this is my other half, I'm complete now with you. And it's like, you were always complete. There's never, why does it have to be, well, I'm only half of what I ever could have been. I'm only ever, like, we talk about bell hooks. Oh God, everyone read All About Love by Bell Hooks. And the way that she defines love is, I may misremember and misrepresent this, but it's something to the effect of true, like real love, as she defines it anyway, is extending oneself for the growth of the spiritual growth of another.
Yeah.
And I really like that, because it's like I am extending myself. I am not minimizing myself. I'm not taking from myself.
Yeah.
I want you to grow. I want you to be you. I delight in you being you.
Yes.
And if you have a healthy relationship, you get that back.
Yeah.
And it's never one-sided, and it's you respect each other as individuals and how you are together. Not like, well, I can't do this thing that I used to like to do because now I'm with this. The old ball and chain doesn't let me do. That's not a healthy relationship then, you know? Like, and you're so right, Keaton. And I'm sorry to hear that was that last relationship, because I mean, that just says that they're not secure in themselves, and you can't have I hate when people say you can't love somebody if you don't love yourself. I don't think that's true, but I don't think you can have a secure, healthy relationship if that's not true. It's not a good foundation to build a relationship on. Well, I'll say that at least.
Because it's definitely valid to want somebody to care for you. I don't think anybody ever arrives fully at a place of like, I 100% love myself, but I also do think it's important to look at those core beliefs and like really listen to the language you're using to describe yourself. I have to tell myself that all the time. I've gotten better, but I still have days where I'm like, repeating things that are self-deprecating in my own mind. And like, it's such a lesson I feel like I've heard my whole life of like, you decide who you are. You decide what you're worth. You decide, like, you can't, if you're telling yourself over and over that you're no good, it doesn't matter how many people tell you that you're good. Just like if a bunch of people are telling you that you suck, but you in your heart know that you're determined to go after this thing, that's really all that matters. And that sounds so trite. I hated when adults would tell me that thing growing up, because I'd be like, you don't understand. Like, nobody in middle school cares. They're not going to stop bullying me just because I like myself. Like, but the older I get, the more I see that that's true. Like, I
think just because it's true doesn't mean it's not going to still hurt.
Or you're right. It's still going to hurt. But after like spending time, and I know you've experienced this too, where you meet somebody and you care about them. It's not just romantic, but like maybe you have a friend that doesn't like themselves very much or love themselves. So they, no matter how many nice things you say or how you try to encourage them, they are deflecting. They're like, no,
who could you be speaking of?
I don't know.
Definitely no one that used to be in my life.
No one that used to be in your life. Our life. I've had people in my own life too who've been like
multiple
this. Multiple
people like that.
I've even been this person too, especially when I was in high school. I was so depressed. And I didn't realize, but like it really doesn't matter like what people say for better or for worse, because if you don't believe it, nothing someone else at least for me anyway. Like, I like encouragement. Encouragement is beautiful, but like, commercial time. Nice. Oh wow. Yeah, I hope she found the partner she wanted for sure.
Yeah, I'll wait a little bit to respond to that in case Keaton is unable to hear.
But yeah, that's it. It's just it sounds like such a trite thing, but if you don't
Keaton's back.
If you don't think you're worth anything, then someone telling you you're worth something might be a little bit of a boost, but when they're gone, like you were saying, Keaton, if your old girlfriend is like, without you I'm nothing, that's not a firm foundation or a sustainable one. Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Oh, wow.
Dang.
Whoa.
Drew.
Hi, Drew.
Drew is here with the raid. Lemonade was a popular drink, and it still is. Drew got more props and stunts than Bruce Willis.
Nice. Wow, welcome.
Welcome, everyone.
Weird.
We got real deep real deep into talking about Princess Mononoke for the 40th anniversary of Studio Ghibli.
Yeah.
It's my favorite movie of all time. I'm just saying.
It's really good.
And now we're talking about like what love really is and
Yeah.
true love.
Yeah. We're really
Because
talking
the
about
love-
how love shows up in Studio Ghibli films.
And how it's so it's always, it's not always romantic, but it is always platonic. And when it is romantic, it's also always platonic.
Yes, I like it.
Like,
Yeah.
that's always there. And that's
balanced.
always seeming the foundation of, and it's like Ashitaka and San's love is so, they really do, I feel like they both see each other. They really see each other.
And there's a communal aspect to their love too.
Yeah.
They're not running off away from Iron Town. They're not running off away from oh my God. They could so Romeo and Juliet this shit and be like, oh, let's run away from both of our communities.
And a double murder suicide at the end.
Help.
They just jump into the black ooze.
Like,
oh, we're so tragic.
And how boring that would have been to like cut them off from their community. Like, there's such a holistic love, a communal love in all of his movies, to be honest. Like, I don't sense that there's love apart from community. Look at Howl's Moving Castle. Like, you have Sophie.
I don't sense that there's love apart from community.
There is no love apart from community in Ghibli films that I have ever seen. I have not seen just two people loving each other and nothing about the outside community or group influences that relationship.
Yeah.
Like, their love is intertwined with the lives they lead and the communities that look to them. And they respect that and they incorporate it and they don't try to like go, I'm coming to you to forget about the wolves and how hard it's been. Like, she doesn't go to escape
from our problems together.
Yeah, I think that's such an easy way out, and a lot of writers take that way out with movies sometimes. Not Studio Ghibli.
It's Western writers, especially.
Western writers absolutely do this. But yeah, does anybody who just joined, like, what are y'all's takes on Studio Ghibli? Anybody like it?
Welcome, everyone from the raid. If you have not experienced the experience point before, that is this is it. This is the experience point. You found us on a Talk Tuesday.
Talk Tuesday.
We talk about stuff on Tuesdays. It's usually me and my buddy Josh from the Still Loading podcast, who you probably know because a lot of our circles are the same. Wednesdays, tomorrow is going to be a wild card Wednesday. That's when I play whatever the F I want. I play some random stuff. I play Sega. I play original Xbox. I play weird, like,
Switch.
Just weird Switch games, weird little Boomerang Fu we played the other night. Or sometimes, if my lovely lady is here, it'll be Girlfriends Days.
Yeah.
What's up, Shadowed?
Hi.
Fridays are Fighting Game Fridays.
Mm-hmm.
I play fighting games on Fridays. That's all there is to that. And then Mondays are Main Quest Mondays, where I'm playing story-based games. Right now, I'm just about at the two more sessions of Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, and then I will be moving on to either Armored Core 6 or Devil May Cry 5. It's probably going to be Devil May Cry.
I was going to say, please let it be Devil May Cry.
Because we just watched the anime on Netflix, which was rad.
Totally recommend it.
Yeah.
Okay, I've never played the game, so I had no preconceived notions going in, so I'm sure it's different for someone who knows the fan.
That's why I'm hesitating.
Listen to him. I've never played the game.
Ooh, DMC is real good. It is good. I feel my critique, if I am going to say a critique, is that it just feels like Castlevania skinned as Devil May Cry, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but I feel like it doesn't have enough of the Devil May Cry DNA. The DMC DNA.
All right, Keaton.
Nice to see all the new folks. Gotta get to bed. Have a good night. If you're in Atlanta this weekend, stop by the Marriott and see our video game room. Nice. Yeah. I will not be in Atlanta this weekend.
But have fun nonetheless. And if anyone in the chat is in Atlanta, there's a furry convention in Atlanta this weekend. You should check it out. Check it out. Yeah,
thanks for hanging with us, Keaton.
Nice, Keaton.
I always appreciate the talks.
We are. I think I'm getting sleepy too, Kate. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I think we should probably wind down. We've been going for almost 4 hours. Drew, oh my God. You've got to play 3. Everyone here, if you like action games and you have not played Devil May Cry 3, it's one of the best of all time. And it's also like, well, okay, why are you saying that I should play the third game? Is there 5 of them and you want me to start with 3? Yes, because they do this stupid thing where it's like they're not chronological. So 3 is the first one in the timeline. So they're... I have a lot to say about this series. Devil May Cry 3 is great. If you liked 1 and 2, Drew, definitely give 3 a chance. It's really where it started to get its like voice. 1 and 2, I think, are a little too edgy and serious for me to go back to. They're important, especially the first one. 2 is very weird. But 3 and 4 are great. But yeah, that's my little pitch. Anyone who's here for the first time and wants to come back again, I would appreciate a follow. I would love a whatever the follow and subscribe and share and do the things, and if that sounds cool. It is fun here, and we try to make a wholesome and safe place for all of our members of any marginalized community, and I don't tolerate no bullshit, so watch yourself. If you say some hateful shit, you're out. But yeah, I would say everyone drop your favorite Studio Ghibli movie. Real quick, I just want to see, because I know y'all got favorite Studio Ghibli movies.
How can you not?
I think I have, and favorite, because Drew and I had Drew on one time to talk about Chrono Trigger, and I know he loves that game. And I was so happy that he responded with this, because I was like, so is that your favorite game of all time? And he was like, no, but I do think it's the best game of all time. And I'm like, I'm so happy that you said that, because whenever people ask me about Ghibli movies, they're like, what's your favorite Ghibli movie? I'm like, well, okay, so if we're talking favorite, it's Princess Mononoke. But I do think if someone's like, what's the best Studio Ghibli movie? I've never watched any of them. I wouldn't say that one first. I would probably say either Totoro, because it's like a good first entry, or Spirited Away.
Yes,
I think Spirited Away is
I'd
the
say that.
best one. But Mononoke is my favorite. So I'm curious if y'all have favorites. Like, what's the one? I say favorite. Yup. All right, Drew. This is why we're friends, because you have good taste. That one needs to be watched more.
Drew says Nausicaa.
I see favorite as what's the one you're most likely to, at the drop of a hat, to watch. Like, what's the one you want to watch soonest because it just makes you feel good? Nausicaa is such a good answer for
Chicken
that.
biryani.
Chicken biryani.
Quoting a TikTok. For me, it's Howl's Moving Castle.
Yeah.
I could watch that at the drop of a hat, but there's movies I like. Nausicaa. The only reason I'm not saying Nausicaa is because it's so deep and it moves me so much that I can't.
Ooh.
I only get the urge when, like, I would say I'll watch it again in 11 months.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking about it. That's how deep it was. Like, I'm not fully processed on the first viewing.
I remember, and your first time was when we saw it in the theaters, right?
No, you showed it to me here.
Oh, okay.
We missed the viewing at the theaters.
We did.
So you showed it to me here. It was just as powerful.
Yeah, I just remember afterwards, I just looked over and she's like,
Jaw.
She's like, that was amazing. That changed my life. I was like, whoa.
It did. It was very serious. I was like,
yeah. And I just love to put a pin in it, and because we are getting tired. We're here talking about this because the re-release of Princess Mononoke was for the 40th anniversary of Studio Ghibli. And what I think I love most about Studio Ghibli and Miyazaki-san in general is he doesn't seem, we touched on this earlier, you were like, he doesn't seem like he really gives a shit about money. And it's like, yeah, you want to be successful, of course, but he seems to be more concerned about representing the story that he wants to tell. And whether or not I'm sure people like Studio Ghibli's investors are probably all like, we really want you to make a sequel to Spirited Away because we think it could make a shit ton of money.
sure
He's
someone
probably like,
pushed him.
well, here, why don't you go get Spirited Away?
Yeah.
Like, I'll give you something and I can tell you where to put it. Like,
Period.
Mononoke is a close second to Nausicaa. Yeah.
Ooh.
It's just
Wow, you two are so
damn
similar.
good. I know.
Oh my god.
That's why we're both Drews. The there's a weight to this word that I'm not necessarily trying to represent, but the sanctity of his art seems like really important to him.
Yeah.
And he seems to be like kind of one of the last. Unfortunately, with that, you get a lot of like. He's a hard ass. Like he will
I've heard that.
fuck with his animators and be like, "This is garbage. Go throw it away. You should be ashamed of yourself." He like I know. He's one of the last. Oh God, maybe I'm just like sucking him off at this point, but like
That's okay. I'm with you.
he really does feel
got the
like
balls.
one of the last like visionaries of his era. Like I think of somebody else, like a Hideo Kojima, which people have a lot of thoughts about him. I think he's a visionary too, for better or for worse, but he's always trying to make the most money.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything that from Miyazaki-san that tells me that he's like, oh my God, no one's going to come see this and we're going to run out of money. Like he's very hard on himself and his animators, but he just wants to tell what he wants to tell. And he wants his story to be told in a particular way. And for better or for worse, we got some amazing movies over the past 40 years. And I know I personally can't wait until we move to Japan.
Yes.
And we're going to be living like 20 minutes from the Ghibli Museum.
I'd love to go.
So
We just have to figure out a way to get those tickets.
I know. Well, we'll be residents, so I think we'll be able to. They just
should
don't
be.
give them the foreigners.
Yeah.
I'll just get Tom to go down there.
That works for me.
Anyway, we are
Yeah.
getting ready to crash. So I think it was you, Andrew, that was telling me that Miyazaki is super difficult. Whereas Junji Ito is like a super nice guy,
Yeah.
and they make they
He does
totally
say
do. Junji Ito is like such a happy-go-lucky guy, and he's just like, haha, yeah, whatever, that's not too bad. And then his art is like, oh, I have seen hell. And then Miyazaki makes all this wholesome shit, and then you see him, and he's just chain smoking, and he's talking about how life is meaningless.
Damn.
But in there, under that, like hardened exterior from just life, he has such warm stories to tell about love and connection, and it's just beautiful. Anyway, y'all, I love you. Let me see if there's anyone streaming right now that we can read to. It's probably late. Oh my God, it's late.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay, Zelda.
Thank you.
Hi.
I'll send you guys to Zach and Zonic.
Ooh.
They're a Sonic, big Sonic fan, big Sega fan, as am I. Also, if you like Sega, give us a follow so you don't miss when we go live next. I'm a big Sega shill. I can't tell if I'm typing because my computer doesn't want to connect.
It looks like you are.
Cool. All right, everyone. I love you all. Thank you, guys. Thank you, gals. Thank you, non-binary pals.
Mm-hmm.
Please take care of each other. Please take care of yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Love each other. We talked about love a lot tonight.
We sure did.
Go to therapy. watch Princess Mononoke.
Heavy on that.
Heavy on that. Thank you, my love, for being here for a Talk Tuesday. I will be back tomorrow with... I'm very tired and I can't think of what I wanted to play. Well, yes, it's Wild Card Wednesday.
So you'll have to tune in to find out what...
Well, I was going to tell them what I was going to play, but I've forgotten what I wanted to play. Oh, well. We'll find out tomorrow together.
Thank you. Episode of Dragon Ball Z.
On the next episode of Dragon Ball Z. All right. Please enjoy Zach and Zonik, who is playing some Metroid Prime 2. Enjoy that for nothing else than... If nothing else, the soundtrack. It'll be a surprise. Yeah, that's kind of the point. Yeah. Thanks for the raid, Drew. Thanks for everyone for watching and following and sharing and doing all of the things. I love you very much. Stay frosty.
Bye.